What is up, everybody? I was going to say the other thing, but yeah, anyways, what's up, everybody? Dan Tom here from the Protect Ya Neck Podast, episode 400. I'm your host who you've seen work on MMAJunkie.com, Action Network, but on this year program, the Protect Ya Neck Podcast, we break down high-level MMA. That's what we're going to do here today tonight. Whenever you're listening to this, hopefully it's for the fight. Recording this on our usual Thursday night. We're kicking off at 6:45, 15 minutes past, but alas, my co-host can attest, it was actually legit technical difficulties. Not just me saying it as an excuse. We legit had some technical difficulties. Apologies and appreciations for you guys being here. And before we get to the chat and get to the show and get this show on the road, Ramblers, but we get rambling, gotta introduce my co-host, man, who's going to be who already is a regular figure, but he will be pretty much, I don't know, I mean, I guess technically just a co-host of the show. I mean, you won't be on every show, but you're a co-host of the show. You're already a staple. He's family, familia. He's Feno. He's at Feno X Sky on the artist formerly known as Twitter. What's up, Feno?
Hello, people. I'm always glad to be here, and for those of you that, I mean, we'll get into that later, but some of you might see me a lot more often from now on, and we'll have fun. We always have fun on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's already going to be probably a decent sized show with my fucking talking ass, and then we got a guest, and we got this. Actually, I lied. I said the last show was going to be a recap. The last one where you guys have to suffer with me for a recap. It's actually technically going to be this one, right, Feno? Because we don't kick off our post-fight recap shows until this card, which is we'll be breaking down, of course, UFC Saudi Arabia, UFC on ABC 6, UFC Fight Night, Whittaker Aliskerov. Right, Feno? We're kicking it off this weekend, huh?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure this card is kind of early, right? Because it's Abu Dhabi and all that kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, we'll kind of hash it out now since we didn't get our pre-talk time. We were legit dealing with technical difficulties. But if it's an early card, usually for big pay-per-views, even if it's late, especially if we're like jacked up, like we'll try to go live. You know, if we're not in too bad condition. But maybe
I feel like we could do it live this week too. So
yeah, I was gonna say let's knock it out Saturday. That way I can at least like have all Sunday to recover and like, you know, finally cut this mop off my hair. I know yours is beautiful and growing. I'm not trying to grow mine though. I'm gonna accidentally become the not as good looking version over here if I don't cut my hair. But yeah, let's do that on Saturday. You guys are wondering what we're talking about. Of course, we're not just celebrating episode 400, which I'll just say a brief thing on in a second, but also kind of launching a new content era. I guess I'll do just one and parlays into the other if I can, you know. I know. What? Dan gonna fucking talk about something non breakdown related and tangent for no tangents here. I'd say that too much. It's not even a tangent. But yeah, man, just quickly, I dare pat myself on the back because as fucking, you know, as much as you know, I may have, you know, come up short in a lot of ways, whether it's like what I wanted to, you know, do as far as which I, you know, we're gonna start doing now, as far as like, you know, getting some success, or, you know, the podcast realm has changed and a lot's changed, right? And lately I've been getting my ass kicked in one section, which, you know, we'll get to in the recap, but it always kind of sucks because I'm finding out with MMA gambling Twitter, so long as you have a negative record posted somewhere, you could cure cancer, but someone will be in your comments and be like, yeah, but this guy's down. This guy's down units. Look, he's down you know, hey, this guy's a phony. Or the I think you should leave skit, or the, you know, the honk if you're horny guy. Like, I feel like I'm just getting followed by those. But if I dare actually like give myself some credit for a second, right? Like, man, you know, for everybody's like, oh, soft quitter, this or that. Like, man, I've stuck it out for a long time. I've been doing this for next year's going to be a decade in this space, just breaking down things publicly. Been doing it unofficially longer, and I have the hard notes to prove it, you know. But this podcast, 400 episodes, is hard to reach. Not a lot of podcasts you guys can think of in the MMA space that hits 400, right? It's not a lot, and if they are, it's kind of like padded numbers, or like not padded numbers, but it's like they're counting every shows, or they're doing multiple shows a week kind of a deal. Whereas this show has only been one a week. It's all I promise, and even that, like, I feel like I've done well at. I've only taken really seldom breaks. I used to only need one-handed count, but I do need two hands to count on those weeks that I've taken breaks of this program. But truth be told, we're actually more than 400 shows, whether it was the alternative commentaries that I've done with Ant Walker, certain like bonus shows, the rewatch episodes, event rewatched with my guy Brad Taschuk, Those aren't officially numbered episodes. So I think that's pretty big deal, and I think I need to remind myself of that. Is that crazy to just give myself like a pat on the back for the 400, Fenyo? Or am I just blowing smoke?
No. It's legit, man. Like just being in this space for so long, it shows commitment, and I feel like the respect you have gotten from the community speaks for itself, to be honest. And yeah, and it's a good show. Like there's a reason we have an active chat right now, and
appreciate you guys, by the way. Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely. Sup, Fenyo, Purple Burb, you're getting love in the chat. Fenyo, you get love in the chat even when you're not here, by the way, man. So you're a welcome addition. And to parlay that talk into what's coming and numbered episodes, to not like put the number off for our post shows that are going to be, yes, they will be behind a paywall. Everything else is staying the same. I'm still going to be hitting you guys on Thursday nights, sometimes with Fenyo as much as he wants, but he will be with me for all the recap shows. Which will be behind technically a paywall. You can still subscribe to the Substack for free. And me and Fenyo were talking about it. Maybe we'll like do like put like maybe like maybe not the main card, but like maybe like the first 3 fights or whatever of the recap, like for free. And then if you guys want to listen to more, you guys can. But of course, that's going to be at Substack, which is in the show notes. Right now, should be live for this show, as well as other things you can donate to, like our friend Tuman's Legal Fund. I was able to put that in there, which Fenyo, remind me, we'll plug that here and at the end.
Okay.
But yeah, guys, I pretty much basically started a Substack as a way for you guys to support. I'm not shilling or selling picks or anything like that. No promises. This is honestly just a way for people to support me because, in my defense, I know I've been doing bad lately or whatever, this or that. But love me or hate me, especially for the gambling crowd, but just in general for people that have paywalls, like I'm not trying to get in a pissing contest, but I don't think it's crazy to say that with as much as work as I put in, that I put just as much work, if not more, or at least as much as anybody else. So I think it's only fair to at least put the option up for people who want to support the show for years. And it's actually people saying in the comments, not me just saying this, folks. Like you can actually go look at comments that I'm getting, and it's really nice. It's really heartwarming. I don't feel like I deserve it, but we figured we'd do it. But in return, even though we're not going to be promising you guys anything, we do want to give you guys stuff back. So I'm bringing my guy Fenyo on for the post-fight shows. So the way to record those is still on YouTube, right? And I'm like, well, if they're free on YouTube, then it's like kind of like kind of an FU to the people subscribing to the Substack, right? So I'm like, well, YouTube has this membership program, and so that can be the paywall for there, so that it's still exclusive for the people that are paying. That being said, I'm like, but that's a problem because now that's 2 different subscriptions, right? Because it's $5 if you want to sign up at Substack, and YouTube I made only $2.99. But here's what I did. So guys, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm still tinkering with it. YouTube's like really set with their prices as far as once you set it, you can't change. They don't have like the discount codes and stuff that are available for Substack. So what I did is basically if you sign up as a member of the YouTube special membership, which comes with its own perks and stuff, right? It's all listed there. You guys it should be in the instructions, and some of you guys have already DM'd me and I've emailed you the link, so hopefully everything is working. But basically, I'll email you guys a link for 50% off the Substack. And so if you subscribe to both, it would be like $5.49. So you're basically, basically still paying just $5 that I originally promised would be the most I wanted to charge. And you get 2 subscriptions out of it, right? So again, if you're just cool with the Substack, that's where most of the stuff's going to be. My Southpaw report. I've already had my fluid thoughts and stuff, so you guys are actually not going to. You guys are going to be able to, guess my takes on the first 2 fights because I'm giving it to you guys early there. Tomorrow I'll have the Southpaw report up, as well as my alternative card formats, which are for everybody, for free subscribers as well. But yeah, most of this content's going to be there. But again, if you want to take part in the actual, live chats, if you want to, take part in the actual bonus top 5 shows, that's where the YouTube membership would come in handy. And amongst the perks, on there, I think it was coolest one. And Feno, you can weigh in here. You seem like you were laughing at it when I was going back and forth. But they give you badges that essentially, like, if you're here for 1 month, you're at this time, and we'll go through it. We'll go through it right now. But yeah, you get like badges and stuff apparently, right? And yeah, so I made it. So the first one, if you guys who signed up, like, shout out to Tony C, Pascal. I don't have it right in front of me right now. I'm just kind of going off memory, off some of the names I saw. But you guys start off as Donnie Clifton is your new member badge, and then after 1 month, you are.
You haven't name dropped the Dan clan yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's called. So they want you to name it something, and I'm like, what can I name that's like Protect Ya Neck? And you guys, and we've been talking about this in the chat forever, right? Like, shout out to Jimmy Kudo. Appreciate you, Enforcer #1 there. It's amazing the day I made 400, even though he makes 1 episode a week. Yeah, I appreciate that. Exactly my point, Jimmy. And you guys have said stuff like neck boys and stuff. And again, it's like it's all homo friendly on this show. It's nothing like that, but at the same time, neck boys. It sounds like I'm a pederast, like with a group of kids or something. I don't need those vibes. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, what can we get that's like Wu-Tang, like Wu-Tang Clan? I'm like, let's go with the Dan Clan. That rhymes, and it'll be a great excuse. I've always wanted to say join the clan. Just kidding. By the way, just make sure you're joining the right clan. Although, to be fair, right, Feno, like, if you end up joining the other clan, you'll still be in a group with a lot of MMA fans, I'm guessing.
I mean, yeah, you can choose this clan, or you can choose the other clan, and I think it really depends on how much you like Sean Strickland and Colby Covington.
Yeah.
Which clan you end up on.
Either way, I'll co-op the shit out of that if I can get some of their, if I can get some of the some membership uppage, right? You know what I'm saying? So join the clan, guys. Just don't clip that. Join the Dan clan. I gotta be careful, Feno, because who's gonna clip this? Like, what is Dan promote? Look what this guy is promoting.
and then you get even more shit, because people will be like. And then Tom isn't even white, because that wouldn't be the first time that happens to someone from Extreme Couture this week. So.
Oh my God! Yes, oh my gosh! Oh no! Someone needs to give me a Photoshop edit of the Dave Chappelle and the Ku Klux Klan sketch. For the join the Dan Clan. No, don't do that. Actually, we don't. I know I'm asking for trouble with this name, Feno. I'm asking for trouble with this name, but.
No, we're reappropriating clans. That's what.
That's right. We're taking it back. We're like Randall from Clerks 2. It's okay. We're taking it back. Fucking dark references. All right, I'm getting too much love in the chat here, and then we'll move on with the show. But yeah, basically, guys, check the links. Join the Dan Clan on YouTube, $2.99. You do that, you get 50% off the Substack subscription, which is $5 a month. I made it so you can do $55 for the whole year, which you basically get 1 month free if you want to do it that way. Someone already did. Thank you to you. I don't know if I want to go too far with the shouts, like I'm shouting everybody's business and what they spent. You know what I'm saying? But I will shout. We already had a founding member, which is like. They make you do a crazy high price. They actually made it higher than the $209 that I set it for. But you can donate anywhere between the monthly price of $5 to the the $209 I set. They had it auto set at $300 though, but you obviously got to offer something for that. And so what we offer for our founding member tier for $209, obviously not only does that get you your membership for the whole year, and I'll probably gift you more on top of that, to be honest, because let's be honest. But you get one time only. You get to pick a bonus top 5 show. It may actually be even just used for a regular top 5 show too, or whatever. But it'll be considered a bonus because we're going to do it on top of the schedule. It'll be for you. It'll be dedicated to you, and whether you want to just submit a list, whether you want to record audio, record video, pre-recorded, or you want to, come on live just for a short bit for your own segment, we will arrange that. So that's what you get for that, as well as a special shout out. And so far we have one person, Tony C, in the house. I think Tony C is in cahoots with Donnie, because Tony C was like, "Why do you have Donnie as the as the starting character for the Dan clan. He should be the end boss. And I'm like, Donnie Clifton is like the gambling Twitter bros. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got to be at the bottom, man. I'm sorry, you know. And if somebody wants to pay to troll, you know, they'll probably, you know, to troll as a member or something. Not like, hopefully they don't, but if they want to spend the $5 to troll me, at least they're going to be doing it in character with the Donnie badge next to him. You know, it'll be right. I'll just run through those tiers real quick before I get to the chat. Sorry, guys. And if you're a part of the Dan clan for a month, you turn into Neo from the Matrix. It was supposed to be the I Know Kung Fu GIF, but it was so hard to find. I had them all GIFed out, and they were so picky on the dimensions. I don't know how to edit GIF dimensions. Fenyo, page mark that if you know. Get with me later.
Yeah, I probably can get that.
But yeah, so there's only one GIF, which we'll get to. But yeah, but that's basically, you know, without trying to sound like, you know, again, real dangerous territory, Dan clan, and now entering the Matrix. I'm going to sound like an Andrew Tate bro over here. No, I just meant to know it's the I Know Kung Fu image, because it's, you know, you've been here for a month listening to me and Fenyo, you know Kung Fu at this point, right? 2 months, you turn into Nate Diaz, because, you know, it's the closest to 209 is 2, and I just wanted to see Nate Diaz in there in the chat, so I wanted him kind of early in the queue. You know, it's an excuse for the impression.
I'm not surprised.
Yep. And if you're for 6 months, you turn into Jane Gleason Hercliano, the Khabib Destroyer. Shout out to Ryan Wagner. 12 months for 1 year, you turn into Michael Caine. Of course, you know, you're an old man at that point, right? You're an old man. You're a creep. You've been here for that long. You've been here for 2 years. You are just like, you are something's probably wrong with you, okay? You are Travis Bickle from Taxi Driver. This is the one gift that's stuck, and he's got the mohawk, and he's clapping. Like, you are just a loner to society. You associate with me for all the wrong reasons. But, you know, you've been here for 2 years. Then the next one, you go to 3 years, and, you know, you've just survived. You have survived the apocalypse. You are Mad Max. You are the Road Warrior at this point. And then it goes to, you know, 48 months, which you turn into Bane, of course. You know, it'd be, you know, good excuse to use the Bane impression by then. You are molded by the darkness at that point if you were somehow sticking around with this show for that long.
Of course.
Yes, if I was born, penis rises. Well, he doesn't say that, Dan. What version did you watch? And then the final boss, of course, 60-month badge. I did Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China, because you are essentially immortal at that point, okay? I don't know how this show's going to last that long. Hopefully it does, but if it does, you are fucking immortal, okay? 60-month. So that's the tiers, folks. Did you like those, Fenyo? Any suggestions?
I feel it's pretty good right now. We just gotta get the I Know Kung Fu thing sorted out. So.
All right. Fight Talk MMA just finished recording my whole ass breakdown, so don't say anything changes my mind. We'll see. I appreciate you being here, brother. Jimmy Kudo, Enforcer number 1. Hello and welcome, Fenyo. Can I start by saying how disgusting Bisping's commentary was for last week's main event? Oh, we'll get to that. We'll
get into that for sure, yeah.
Ray Lamina, the Robert Whittaker of being a proper UFC finisher. All right. James Kendrick. Hi, guys. Excited to talk MMA with Fenyo X Guy. Absolutely. Chronic Combat Conversations. Let's fucking go, Fenyo. What's up, Dan Tom? I appreciate you guys. Of course, Ghost Phantom Enforcer number 2. Excellent analyst in the house. Aaron B. Bobby fucking Knuckles Black Flag shirt. Yeah, I know. Hopefully I'm not like the nerdy dude. Good. It is. Like, hopefully I'm not like the nerdy guy who wears the band you're seeing at the concert, but I couldn't help it. Shout out to the Co-Main Event podcast, by the way, where I got this. Oop. Still going? Yeah, we still going. This is in Tuesday, Hobby 400. Thank you, Jin Karasu. There is some star power for this card. I am willing to ignore the Saudi sports washing when the cards are bad. Then I'll call out sports washing. Going to the sports wash. To the sports wash, yeah. Right? Hey, everybody's going to the sports wash. Yay. Jesus Christ. Yeah, what's up, Purple Burb? 11 a.m. running a 1 hour sleep. Oh, you and me both, Purple Burb. Jimmy Kudo, Jack Slack also made a 500 episodes, but he does 2 shows a week, 1 hour recaps, 2 for previews. And he's Jack Slack, and he's been doing it for a minute. So, you know what? I expect to be beaten by those people on multiple metrics. So, if I can kind of edge toward their company, that's more than enough for me. So I appreciate you guys. Happy 400th. Appreciate that. Jimmy Kudo. It's amazing Dad made it to 400 even though he makes one. Yep, thank you. Appreciate it. Synchro Wing in the house. I think that's a totally fair format. Put the recap portion in the Substack for extra content. Yeah, and then hopefully you guys won't be bothered too much with these with me, going on. Especially on the streak I've been on. James Kendrick, I consider myself someone who is a good analyst, but I use your takes. Who is good at analysis, but I use your takes to seem smart in arguments I have online. Feel free to do so. Hopefully I'm not making you look bad. Can we still support via the Amazon? I'm still working on that, to be honest. I just haven't had time to hunt that down, and when I emailed Amazon, they weren't really helpful. It all feels like you're just talking to AI now. To sound like a boomer. I want to talk to someone from this country. I just want to talk to a human being. That's all. That's all. I don't want to search for memes in Instagram and be hit with like Meta giving me the suicide hotline. Like, I'm just looking for funny memes. What's going on here, Meta? Fucking Zuckerberg. Sorry, the Dan Clan is about body shots, southpaw techniques. The Colby Covington and Sean are about boring fights. Yeah, I don't know. All right, and then Bane, of course, I was born in the darkness and molded by it, and you adopted by the dark. So I'm just quoting a Ghost Phantom. All right, let's get the fuck going. So speaking of recaps here, what's up, Feno? Go ahead.
No. Let's get into the
20 minutes in. We got to get recap.
Because I'm not sure if I remember the guy right.
Yeah. We'll see. I'm gonna pull up results here, but basically the good news about this too, and you guys already seem to agree with putting the recap shows as far as to the post fight content, because again, it saves time. Even even if you're not a part of the crowd, or just get to the picks, bro. Those crowds they've already tuned out by now, and that's fine. We don't want them. But even if you're a part of like, even if you're part of that crowd, or you're not a part of that crowd and you appreciate the analysis or whatever, like, I don't like, starting the show off personally, being me, hearing my voice, being negative or whatever. And when I think Feno, I've won 2 events only, and I've lost 16 events this year. That's crazy. And that, that doesn't include 2 events that I was in Thailand for, and I probably would have lost those, to be fair. But we'll just keep those off the record. It's bad enough as it is. But man, dude, like, in my defense, it's like, how can you not have a negative tinge and stuff? And we'll get to it, especially with like the way in which I'm like, I'll be honest, whether it's a bad bet or an honest loss. There's no problem. I do it all the time. But we'll talk about it with this card, with the question they posed us, Feno, about Bisping commentary in the main event. But like, it was funny. Last week I was like, so we went for the podcast. I went 5-6 overall, 1-2 in straight plays, 0-1 for totals, 0-8 in round flyers. The classic 1 out of 5 in the round robin, with multiples being right there, which meant we went 0-1 for the long shot parlay, minus 6.86 units. Dude, putting me at minus like 80 something units now, which is crazy because I thought I started the year worse than I did. I've just been abused so hard that I don't know when the trauma started and when it ended, or when the end is in sight, But I was like, oh crap, I was only down not only, but I was down like 20 units, and like the beginning of the year going, oh, end of the world, and I'm like, oh, what I would give to only be 20 units fucking down right now, right? I'm 80 units, right? And but at the same time, it kind of makes sense because again, I went 2-16 for events. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy part is, even though everybody uses that record against me and or the numbers of bets where it's like so many bets, a little bit of bets win, so many bets lost as far as that number tally goes, that doesn't give you any context to it. The crazy part is, if you actually do the math, I should be down more if I bet like the people who criticize me bet, because these same people will put like 10 units, by the way, like, on like low level, unproven WMMA fights, essentially. And it's like a fucking coin flip, and they'll cash off some bullshit, and they're fucking geniuses, So it's like, if you think about it that way, the fact that like they're essentially betting on one fight, when I'm strategically spreading out through an entire card. You know what I'm saying? But again, at the end of the day, I'm a fucking loser, so that's not none of that context is taken in. So, but we got Feno here to hopefully make me not feel crazy. But it's funny because last week I was like, and it's always the wrong lessons, right? I always talk about this space rewards the wrong lessons to the fighters, to the fans. Like, it just the wrong lessons keep being rewarded. People fuck up upwards. There's just so many examples of that. And even to myself, I'm not beyond this, to where I was like, the week before last, I was like, I lowered my gambling units. And I lost still, right? And even though I felt better about it because there wasn't as much attached, I did the math, and I was like, shit, I actually would have broke even or profited it in some houses if I would have bet my normal amount, because as much as I give myself shit and people give me shit, like I can not just analysis, like mathematical numbers wise, I can actually justify the coverage for everything, for how much I put out for the plays. Fenyo, you're gonna be great at gambling, by the way, after all this bullshit with me. But like, the point is, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. In other words, like, Dan, you don't bet as crazy as other people, for one, like you just said, and two, there's a method to the madness. Like, you actually have to bet that certain amount on these money lines to cover or to justify the small sprinkles you're doing on the round props. And so I go back to normal this last week, and I even add a mentality of, like, Fenyo, I'm going to let go of results. You know, I felt really good. Like, I felt super positive on the show. And, like, even, like, just behind the scenes, like, man, it's doing a lot of work. Like, I'm like, you know, let's let go of the results. Like, we'll chip away at that thing. You know, we got bigger things to worry about here. And the universe was like, oh, hold my beer. I'm going to fuck with you, Dan. I'm going to check every box of your pet peeves, from not just losing. We're going to, you know, reward fucking, you know, we're going to punish from you to the fighters themselves, the people who have just been shit on the last couple of years, and deserve, and not just deserve, but we've worked hard for it and should get it. And on paper, we're correct, whether they were up on the cards or you were correct about your analysis, right? And sure enough, those are the people that lost. And sure enough, the people that could afford losses, whether they're fighters, or could have not afford just losses, but God forbid some lessons as the spectators, those people get it? No. They were rewarded. And it was just everything to just, yeah, I couldn't help it, you know. I may have came off like a dick at the end, but like I couldn't help it, Fenyo. I couldn't help but call people out, and I'm not gonna get into a pissing contest or whatever. It's all love, but at the same time, I'm gonna be real. If the sky is blue, the sky is blue. And even like the better people in the space who aren't like the typical, like, you know, MMA gambling stereotypes that I throw out, like even the good people in the space do this thing I hate, Fenyo. You don't have to be a gambler to weigh in on this, Fenyo. But when people get, you know, win by injury, like, I think it's just such a bad look. Like, it's just, I always make fun of people. It looks so stupid anyways when you're celebrating what a fighter did. It's like, what the fuck did you do, you know? And people are like, yeah, we did it, easy money. It's like, what the fuck did you do, dude? You didn't go through training camp. You weren't in there, you know? Like, so on that level alone, our cheering kind of looks stupid as it is, and we need to acknowledge that, all of us, myself included,
yeah, for
right?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But on top of that, to do that when, like, you're when somebody just got injured, you know what I'm saying? And that just makes me sick, man. Like, and I don't know, and I don't know if it's because, you know, I get a little more sensitive because, you know, I try not to say this or lean on it, but yes, I do the sport. Yes, I have competed and fought. That's why I wear these stupid fucking glasses, not because I'm a hipster. It's because multiple concussions, and I've also known people who have lifelong injuries. And just knowing what that depression does to people, and being familiar with things like depression and all these things and how they're all related, and it's not just a losing, but you just see that like that's a career trajectory for the guy's age Alex Perez is on. Alex Perez, by the way, loses by TKO injury to Tatsuo Otaira. You look at his age, the division, the context, you know, like that's a crucial point. Like he might not come back and never be the same. And even though people were just shitting on Alex Perez for years, having a fucking sit and listen. People shitting on him for years. He comes back, and one of our 2 winning victories was him against Mateus Nicolau, and that felt so good because it was like, fucking stop disrespecting this guy, man. And again, checking off all the boxes here, right? And of course, you know, now Alex Perez just proves all the people that were disrespecting him, because motherfuckers were still disrespecting him with their analysis, you know. I think I only saw one write-up, and, you know, and even then, like, you know, outside of that, like, I don't hear anybody ever talk about Perez, like, because a bunch of people were playing, like, Taira by TKO to get a knockout, Fenyo, and I was like, that's pretty crazy considering Perez has only been knocked out, his only knockout loss is, in the UFC is to Benavidez, and that was multiple head clashes, which no one ever talks about when they recap that fight. And it just drives me nuts. It's like when people say Jonathan Martinez lost to Andre Ewell when they're doing the classic shit on Jonathan, and it drives me nuts. I'm like, no. You don't have to like him. He's not going to win, but get it fucking right. You know?
And also, And also, even if there were not like head clashes in the Benavides fight, it's like it's how do you compare like Joe B to Tyra? Like
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because he got the
it's
his
like
one.
you leave too much at that point. You're leaving too much on reading Wikipedia and topology more than watching fights. And not to shit. I mean, if you bet doing that instead of watching fight and it works for you, like okay. I mean, I personally don't care
Right.
because I don't bet, but
Yeah.
but I mean, I didn't do like much tape study or anything, but I was pretty sure like Perez has an advantage of the striking. And even though Tyra surprised me with some answers as the fight progressed, sure the fight for sure, but it was clear that Perez was winning the stand up. Like, and let's get into the some of the Bisping hate
Please. Yeah.
here,
Please. Please. Please.
because
Please.
first round is super clear for Perez. Every judge that scored it for Perez, he was landing the bigger shots
Yep.
on the feet, the calf
Yep.
kicks. He was moving Tyra into shots, into hooks in open space. He denied the only like on the tie-ups he was winning as well. He got an easy takedown. It was a super easy round to score, no question asked. So for Bisping at the end of the fight, like that's one of the cleanest performances. Such like, and I don't know if these guys are being directed by the truck or what, but it's so weird. It was so weird, to be honest.
Yeah, and like Jimmy Kudo says here, like we like Japanese MMA, we like Tyra. It's not even that. It's just like,
I like Bisping, man.
and I like
Like,
Bisping too. But it was just, it was so fun. And again, it was like I felt like I was in an alternate reality being gaslit. Like again, like this is the second week in a row. My night hinges on the main event. The fighter that I bet, who was the more proven product, to okay, even if you want to argue that they should have been an underdog, neither should have been a bigger underdog as they were. Both Cannonier and Perez, they were the much more proven fighters at a higher level in 5-round fights on multiple metrics and chat boxes. They were the underdogs. They were up on the cards until freak stoppages happened, right? Really, it's kind of what it is, freaks, And I actually defended
this one way worse than
of
the
course, way worse.
Cannonier.
And I actually defended the Cannonier one more than most, which again is like not like MMA bettors to do because they don't keep that same energy. They complain when it's like not an actual robbery, and they complain. And then the most annoying part is when they win like this, they brag and they never mention. And there's a couple people that did shouts to those people, like my guy Clint, I think, was like, ah, man, you hate to see that. I hope he's okay. Like, that's all you want to see. Like bettors who have been around for a while and who can win like they've been there before. They can win with like some semblance of class. They'll, at the very least, they'll say, it's not how you want to cash a ticket. You know what I'm saying? That's true. Just like a fighter goes, with elbow cuts, like, yeah, I meant to elbow him and this and that, but it's just like, you don't necessarily want to win or lose off like a freak cut or something like that, like, you don't want to leave any question, even as the winner. Like, as a loser, obviously that sucks, but even as the winner, if you're being honest with yourself, and
yeah. For example, I wanted Gamrot to be Sarukian,
yeah,
and I was like trying to get on the train of like, oh, it's okay, but it was not okay, man. It was such a bad decision. Like,
yeah, and hey, Feno, and guess which side I was on that one too, So again, back to this challenge that remains open to this day, guys. From 2020 until now, name a bad decision, name a bad referee stoppage, name a freak injury. We're talking about all these things. Literally, I'll tell you which side I was. I was on the wrong end, and the ones that I can name that are on the one hand, you mentioned Gamrot. Okay, I had Gamrot against Fiziev, right? I still ended up not only losing on that night, but I think I ended up losing on that fight still because my main bets were that I was afraid of the Gamrot money line. But I was like, if he doesn't get finished by Fiziev early, rounds 3, 4, and 5, he's going to be live, right? With the way that breaks down. So I just did my round sprinkles in 3, 4, and 5. So I didn't profit on that fight. I didn't even profit on that night. So, and that was like the one fucking time out of literally 100, okay? Of anything anybody can think of. Like that, like, oh, wow. So it really was, it really fucked with me that this night here. And yeah, hearing the commentary, and I love Bisping, but hearing them was like, I was like, what the fuck am I seeing? And then seeing everybody from people not just the gambling Twitter randos, people I respect, just doing and a lot of these people too are the same people that cashed the week before. They cashed Chris Weidman over Bruno Silva. And I'm just like, come on. And it's not just me, because you go into the comments of these, and I know I'm not crazy, because people will be like, how are you going to celebrate that, bro? Like, the fucking person lost, and this other person is, like, badly injured to where their career could be, you know, over or compromised. Whether it's Perez, like we just said, Bruno Silva with the eye shit. Like, that's not just a result for a single fight. Like, these things can really affect the whole career. But hey, man, we gotta look like we're the fucking geniuses. Sorry, I hate that shit.
Yeah, if you go back to for example, the Cannoneer, it's like, it sucks because like he deserved the opportunity to like get actually TKO'd because of his age, because of the rank he's in, because he has shown to be that tough, and because he's not getting that opportunity at 40 years old again. Yep. And in the Perez versus Taira, it's like, for sure the chances of an injury like that are always there.
Yeah.
But it's like, you cannot say that's the intent. Like,
no.
That's like saying, oh, Mark Coleman broke Shogun's arm on purpose with the double leg because he knew he was going to pause. Like, come on, dude.
I hate that shit. And if you're gonna say it, just say you're being a contrarian asshole. It's like people who say like, oh well, technically Yair Rodriguez threw up a submission that was attacking Ortega's arm, and that's kind of the area that Ortega was hurt. You know, so
yeah, like yes, it's a risk intrinsic to the technique, but you're not looking for that. Like,
yeah,
like, and people do very bad analogies when it comes to it, like, oh, people throw punches without the intent of knocking. No, every time you're throwing a punch, you're trying to concuss the other guy, and you know there's a chance that you're going to knock him out. You're not looking for a takedown, looking for an arm or a leg break. That's the analogy doesn't work. It is not like that at all.
It is silly, yeah, and people just ignoring that was insane. And the last thing before I move on, just the last checkbox, because again, fuck me, right, for like liking these fights. Like, it would be so much easier, Feno, if I was just like, I like the athletic young person, do the hot stuff, give me the, who got the broccoli cut, who talking to O'Malley shit, blah. I probably would have so much more enjoyable time being a fan if I was one of those fans, Feno, you know? But God forbid I look at technique. God forbid I actually, and this is not, that's how you're going to lose betting, bro. It's like, that's not why I'm bet. I do leave that stuff out in the betting. But God forbid I have my human being part of my brain still turned on, folks. Like, God forbid. Like, my two favorite flyweights got disrespected that night. And they're the two guys with two of the most talented flyweights. I hated when they had to face each other. And they've had two of the most hardest roads in different ways. That's Alex Perez, of course. And then, of course, we can't go a week without fucking somebody disrespecting Pantoja. Thank you to my, loyal listeners always sending me bad takes on Twitter from random fucking accounts talking shit on Pantoja. But then, of course, Taira's like, I don't want Pantoja next, and everybody is already just fucking coming themselves over the TKO injury. Disgusting, but there's a lot of that crowd, and that crowd, and of course everyone's gonna be around, oh yeah, he's gonna fuck up Pantoja, young guy, fuck the old guys, fuck the Brazilians, fuck the hype, and one more checkbox just to be the extra twist, because there's just no such thing as a regular L. Me, Mr. Asian fighters, 4 Asian fighters, they don't get a lot of love. Of course, this is the one time, just like with all the fuckers who disrespect the old guys, and I knew something was wrong when I was on Martinez, and all those guys were on Aldo. It was the same time. Oh, this is the one time you guys like the old guy? Now it's like, oh, the one time you guys like the Asian guy? Of course. And of course, the one time everybody is in chorus going, for the Asian guy. I'm the fucking dude in the meme party that's angry at all people. How?
Yeah, and I feel like people misunderstand this because, like, we're not even saying that Taira wasn't going to win if it went long. Actually, the takedown was very impressive, and the fact that he got him down and he got the back take, it was like, okay, there's avenues for Taira to win this fight for sure. And I thought he was making adjustments on the striking, but this is not replicable, and you know this.
Yes, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah, it absolutely is not.
And also, the last thing that I wanted to say about Perez that makes it suck so much is because knee injury, they can be very troublesome, especially for someone that it's already like late into his career. especially because like knee injuries are still to this day like very delicate, and people say like, oh, NFL players are recovering from knee injuries. Like, are you going to compare how much any guy in the NFL makes compared to a flyweight in the UFC? Like, come on, dude. You know it's way worse when a guy that maybe has to take a second job to pay the bills, it gets a knee injury that fucking sucks. And you know the UFC is not paying for that. So, in fact, the UFC gave Tyra a performance of the night.
Yeah, they give him the bonus, and Perez is the one that's like stepping up and stuff and doing favors for them. And you know, part of it's for themselves too, because you never know where they're at. Like sometimes they're fighting out a contract and whatnot. And yeah, and again, it just would have been on so many levels, you know, like whether it's at the top of the card or like, what was it, Benitez Mahashate at the beginning of a card a few cards ago, where again it was me getting screwed on another split decision with another countering southpaw, and again the guy who could have afforded a loss gets the win, you know. And Benitez, it's just a constant theme. It's like can I just get a result, Feno, without irony? I have enough iron in my diet. Stop giving me the irony with these. Just give me a loss. Like, did you have to, like, twist it in?
a normal, like, well-scored loss.
Yeah, like, no, we have to check off, like, every box that's going to annoy the fuck out of Dan Tom. Like, because he clearly hasn't lost enough. You know? let's do that. So, yeah, that was just fucking annoying. And you guys, please comment. I'm going to give you guys an incentive for engagement, by the way. There's 191 viewers. Hit the like button. Jump over on YouTube. Hit the like. You don't have to subscribe to like. You can subscribe for free. To chat, you don't have to chat. You can just subscribe to support. Either way, hit the like, hit the share, please. That is free. You can vote with your clicks and dollars. We're gonna be pushing on. And as far as comment goes, the last thing I'll say on this fight, you guys comment below. I'm stealing this from the Grappling Hour, which you should be following. Shout out to my guy Rafa Sparza for the comments. Even if you're listening post tense, and you can on audio, you can go to YouTube, or you're listening on YouTube post tense, or you want to comment in the chat now. Here's the question. Here's the comment of the day, folks, where you guys can comment. Is it cringe? Am I just being a sore loser, or is it cringe when people celebrate someone else's victory when when that victory is over? I should say more specifically, celebrate an injury victory like that. That just seems really classless to me. I know classless. Like, okay, yeah, still fine, still a dick. We're still operating on this human plane, and in this human plane, we're all operating and all have opinions on, folks. I want to know yours. You guys know mine. All right, co-main event. This was another one. We'll blow through these a little faster, but this was another one that was. This was an honest L. It was just a pain. It was just still kind of a pain in the ass because, again, it's like I'm trying to learn lessons from this, but it's like, well, what's the lesson here? I should have bet on the unproven, overinflated chalk when my bankroll is low in Tyra to do an unreplicable win, like you said, Feno, and we broke down. And for this one, it's tough. It's like. Maybe I should have, bet Johns instead of Douglas Da Silva de Andrade, who loses by unanimous decision. And I feel like the decision was correct, minus the 230-27 cards, by the way. I don't know what those judges were watching. Douglas Da Silva had Johns hurt multiple times in round 3. But of course, and again, it's an honest L, but even, I'm not saying it's not, but I guess my L's have been so bad that even this seems like an honest L in my book. Of course, he rocks Johns, and the ref does the mouthpiece thing and breaks it up. And for what it's worth, it's not me being biased with my bets complaining. Actual fighters who have been through that process, again, shouts to Bisping, so we're not just being negative here. You could hear it in his voice in the commentary. He was like, oh, well, that's convenient. When Bisping's like, can't get it back for the life of him, gets kneed in the fucking face by Anderson Silva and has to still come back to win the fight. By the way, I bet on Bisping in that fight, and that's when I back in my golden days when I was doing good. And even on those days, I still had to fucking scratch through it, folks. But this one was annoying too, though, because all the shots that I said, as far as that would be there on Miles Johns, the knees, the left hooks, the uppercuts, excuse me, like all those were the shots that hit. Not so much the uppercuts. The lead uppercuts were stupid, I should say, but everything else I called for hit essentially. It just wasn't enough, and Miles Johns did that thing where he sucks people into their fights. And again, I don't know, Douglas Da Silva de Andrade, I know, he's come through for me before, he's lost for me before, but he's a dog that'll fight for your money, and even though I came up on the wrong end, is there really a hard lesson? Should I have gone maybe not bet, obviously, is the ultimate lesson for every fight. But did Johns really even pay off his price tag on the other hand? Because, again, he's a guy that I have a hard time trusting as a favorite because he fights so low output against today's MMA meta. He fights so close. So it's like, where's the lesson there? You know what I'm saying? Like, I took a shot. I lost. I think it's just fair game. But I don't think I'm necessarily crazy for that shot. I don't know.
It's mostly the record. And Mike Jones has been like kind of lucky to be facing mostly the lower tier of 135, and that's something that most bantamweights don't get the luxury of. And here to give credit to the guy, he stepped up against someone that it's more of a mid tier of the division. Even though Silva de Andrade is getting old, and he's not low output, but he lacks control tools that I like to call. He doesn't have a very active jab. He doesn't have safe scoring. It's all big movements. So this fight was kind of coin flippy because it's both guys throwing very big. So it's always a fight that it's going to go to whoever lands the better shots that day. Like, you make this same fight another 5 times, and I feel like they are going to be 3-2 or at the very worst 4-1 in whichever side. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, totally.
And I mean, Miles Jones, he plays this game that it's going to cost him as he moves up the division. He has the physical tools for sure to pull this off against opposition like this, but even with his athleticism, for example, I would not ever pick someone like Miles Jones against someone like Victor Henry, for example.
Yeah.
Because he would not be able to handle the volume. He doesn't have the tools to sustain that. And the Andrade, I felt like it cost him to also not have those tools, despite being the more active fighter here. Because he was landing more, but he was allowing Jones to move around and find the big leaping left hook time and time again. He was not controlling the action with his shots because the Andrade is a very my turn, your turn kind of fighter, and I felt that cost him. But I mean, the third round thing was kind of frustrating. I don't feel like judges should do that. I understand that it sucks to lose a teeth or something, but at the same time, it cannot come at the price of stealing the momentum from the fighter.
And then that's tough. And then that's why it's extra twist of the knife, so to speak, when he rocks him again after that, despite being robbed of his momentum. He rocks Johns even harder. And then they get to the round, and it's I already knew I lost, or whatever, this or that, and unless from some Hail Mary bad decision, which again, if those come in my life, it's usually going against me, right? Not usually, pretty much every time for the most part, to be honest. I'm trying not to be so negative though. But yeah, I already figured I was gonna lose, but then to hear 30-27, I'm like, is it bad? Again, is it bad? I'm already losing, guys. Stop spitting on me, while I'm down. Stop, just to score that against it was pretty. It's pretty ridiculous. Team Bald, ex-Bald. I haven't seen this person before, but this is a good contribution. He says, John's power makes his opponents very hesitant, so his fights end up being Tyron Woodley type staring contests. Yeah, there's that dynamic is definitely at play. Great analogy, I think, there. I don't want to backtrack, but Tron from Twitter says Tyra was never losing that fight, would have finished after that takedown. I mean, never's a strong word. Again, we just saw a freak injury. I mean, who's to say Tyra's knee doesn't go? Even just that alone, let's just forget the fact that fighters can actually come back, and Perez is more proven. Let's forget that. Okay, fine, we'll forget all that. Never.
I mean, he was losing to that point, so.
Yeah, he was also losing to that point. I mean, so to be so never. Listen, you can think Tyra was going to win. That's fine. You can like Tyra. Maybe you cast your bet. Congratulations. But again, you won. Do you have to be yeah, and it's always going to happen? Okay, relax, buddy. Relax. Okay, let's relax, Even if it was 9 times out of 10, which that was unproven before and is arguably still unproven now. It's just silly. Not silly. Rios and Truesdale celebrating an injury victory equals cringe. All right, I'm glad I'm not alone on that. Anyways, let's push forward. Let's get through this, folks. Sorry, again, this is gonna be the last longer episode like this. Appreciate you guys being here. So I'm on the fence with the underdog we're gonna talk about because I see a ton of underdogs, right? And it sucks. I'm like, oh, I already went big, like my normal, because I'm trying to keep things small. Now I'm seeing like dogs pop out, and I'm like, do I just do a round robin of dogs or do I play them? And even though I can, wax and wane or cry about how, all the analysis was right and I had it so thought out and the coverage and this and that. The fact is, the only thing I hit, Feno, was a last-minute underdog that was good enough for me to play in Lucas Almeida, Timmy Kwamba, because even though Kwamba's a Las Vegas guy, friends with a lot of mutual friends, the number just didn't make sense. So people, I can go against biases, not that I know Timmy or anything, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I can go against the local guy. That's not a problem for me. I can play the numbers game, right? And that being said, though, like, again, Perez was 2 units, Douglas Da Silva was 1.5, and Lucas Almeida was 1 unit, because that was based on my confidence level, right? And also, Lucas Almeida actually had the biggest price tag to his name, so you have to lay the least to get the most. So it also coincided with that. So it's like, oh yeah, let's not lay more than we have to. Just a unit, it's fine. That was the only bet that cashed, of course. Lucas Almeida defeats Timmy Kwamba by unanimous decision, right? And that's the thing that's annoying too. Again, giving the wrong lessons. Like, I want to be more conservative and careful, but then look what does cash. It's your least confident. My least confident play on my docket was what that cashed. You get what I'm saying there, Feno? Kind of fucks with you, So that fight that I was talking with you about, the Southpaw versus Southpaw fight that's featured on the main card. We'll get to UFC Saudi Arabia shortly in a second here, folks. But yeah, I'm like, holy shit, do I add that too? Because again, Anyways,
for sure.
I don't have anything to say about that fight. Do you?
I thought Lucas Almeida looked good.
Yeah.
And it rough for Kwamba because, like, obviously he took a short notice against Oki, who huge lightweight, right?
Yeah.
He moves down to featherweight, and the UFC loves doing this shit. Like, oh, you're moving down? Here's a dude that is just the same size as the guys from your previous division. Lucas Almeida here looking huge, fucking huge for featherweight.
He's big.
Like,
He's
enormous,
dude.
He's big.
Pepe Sylvia in the chat says, I'd be so pissed if I had Douglas plus 3.5. Fano, that's basically a points handicap bet, or people that don't realize what Pepe... What up, Pepe? People don't realize what Pepe is talking about. And basically is that kind of a bet cashes, so long as I believe it's at least like 2 of the 3 judges give the fighter at least a round. So if you bet the points handicap, which was actually a pretty safe bet, as actually would have been a sharp bet in hindsight. I don't know the number on it, but that if there was a decent number, I would argue that would have been a sharp bet pre-flop of that fight. You got fucked out of it.
There were 2 30-27s in that fight?
Yeah, so 2 judges didn't give, not just 1, 2 judges didn't give him the round where he was clearly rocked twice, and plus
that's insane. That's very bad judge. Yeah.
And John's, not that he didn't do work, but John's already low output on a good gas tank, but by round 3 he's usually showing bad optics as well, so I really don't know what the judges were seeing in that one. But yeah, Brady Hiestand and Garrett Armfield was an excellent fight.
Very good.
Surprisingly good fight. Hiestand was a dog, man. I was with everybody who was like, Armfield seemed like the kind of parlay pick and lock of the week, and I was thinking of that too, but then I was like, let me look at it closer, and then in my write-up I still picked Armfield, but I stayed the fuck away from that fight because of that. Asu Amabayev defeated Jose Johnson. So here's what I mean, like, this is hard. It's another thing, it's like to criticize with the, not just the unit plays I was talking about, my coverage, but like another thing people criticize is my round robins, right? And it's like, first of all, if you play round robins, you should be okay that knowing that it's a losing bet, for the most part. Like, you're playing more lottery ticket stuff. But at the same time, like, man, I make it so like you just need 2 legs, whether it's a 5-leg round robin or a 4-leg round robin. I just need 2 of those outcomes to come through to pay it off, right? Any combination. And once you get more than 2, that's when you really start to make money and multiply for people that aren't familiar with that kind of a bet. And so every week I keep going 1-5 or 1-4. And not just that, but there's always like one that's either a close, like, oh, it was so close, you aren't crazy at least, but you win nothing, or some that are outright, you should have fucking cashed that, man. That was bullshit. But we had Amobayev round 3, you know, where he had the multiple RNCs and he ends the round in the deep RNC thing. So that was just like, you were just like, ah! That hurt. That would have paid off. You know, that probably would have got us to the black maybe, or close to it. Would have paid off the round robin for sure. And we had Adam Fugit defeated Josh Quinlan. I didn't like this fight. I was tempted to pick Fugit. And it seemed like a lot of people thought it was a bad scoring, but I didn't watch it closely. And I think we were both kind of tuned out of this fight. But like,
yeah,
anytime
I wanted to have like a laugh at it.
Yes,
but it was not like even good for that.
No,
like, I know, no disrespect. I respect both fighters, but it didn't make for a good fight to watch, man.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Josh. So it was the Jank Master division. So Feno, of course, has come up with Jank Master, and we slowly realized it. Like, holy crap! Like, there's a
welterweight is jank weight. Yeah,
dude, it's disproportionate, right? It's crazy. There's so many janky guys at welterweight. So
you expect like middleweight, and middleweight is like jank for sure, but. Right. But welterweight is very surprising with the amount of janky guys.
Yeah. So Feno and Dan Clan people in the chat, everybody, right? This is your guys' not jobs, but what you guys get to participate in. So kind of like how the MMA Analysis podcast, shout out to Brad, he has the Fatties, the T-shirt in the pool division, which is the unofficial heavyweight division, which has slowly become the heavyweight division. But he'll jump at all the, you know, like when Rocky Martinez fought Josh Parisian, like that fight was a title fight. That was a T-shirt in the pool title fight, right? So we need to figure out who the unofficial Jank Master title champion is at welterweight, and we need to follow this unofficial lineal title. Okay.
I mean, we gotta give it to Nico now that he beat like Morono for the second time, right?
Yeah. Unless Jeremiah Wells wants to go challenge him, absolutely. Yeah, Jeremiah Wells probably like number 2 in the standings.
Oh yeah, because Chaos just knocked out what's his name?
Oh, another janky guy.
Because he's very janky, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much jank in that division. God, it's so hard.
Fugit is on the running now.
yeah, Fugit's in the running now, absolutely. And I will say, even though people were complaining about the scores, Josh, not that it means everything, because obviously fighters don't understand the rules or scoring criteria more than we would like to think, sadly. I will say, Feno, when you see the fighter who lost a close decision going like clapping and going, "Oh, I figured I lost," I don't know.
That's okay, I guess, yeah.
You know, it's kind of one of those things. Well, he was in there. Say what you will about him. He was in there. I wasn't, and he's not complaining.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not like they felt they lost, but they are like, yeah, close enough.
Pepe Sylvia says, "Is Feno from South America?" I still remember when he mogged that dude on Twitter with the shirtless pic. Yeah, I remember he dunked all over him. Yep.
I'm from Chile.
Yeah, he should be. Feno should not he's not confident, but he should be more confident. He is a handsome, styling motherfucker. He keeps it low key, but don't let it fool you, man. This guy's got it with it. Blowing through the rest of these, Nate Maness defeated Jimmy Flick. This one was like, oh my. I knew it wasn't just me because I saw people like quote, like they were like shaking hands and smiling at the end, and people were like quote tweeting and goes, "When you bet the decision with your opponent," because Jimmy Flick never goes to the decision. That was insane. I had Maness rounds 2 and 3, Feno, and then I had him round 2 in the round robin. And if that hits, that's another leg that could have hit. He had him like rocked multiple. The round 2 was the money round. You had everything you wanted to ask for going into that, right? And sure enough, he has him rocked.
He took the back 2, right? Was it that in round 2 or was it that in round 3?
I forget. Well, Maness started grappling with him out of nowhere after he had him hurt on the feet. Like Jimmy Flick was getting ready to hit the quit button like he always does after round 1. And Maness like, nope, you're staying in this. And he starts grappling with him for no, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, what are you? He almost got guillotined too or something. And I almost tweeted it. I didn't tweet fast enough, but I was like, I actually hope my bet loses because it deserves to lose for him doing that. What the fuck? Like, holy crap. And Nate Maness is like friends with the gambling Twitter, and he goes on a lot of their shows. So
I'm really?
Like, yeah, I wonder if they bet. I wonder if him and the Brick. Tell him the Brick sent you. I wonder if they try to fucking deal. Like, dude, I'm not like conspiracy guy, but like when it comes to stuff like that, or like Jailman and Derek Lewis going to decision, I'm like, somebody fucking bet the decision, man. Somebody bet the decision. There was no way the fight should have been.
Yeah, man. I thought Nate looked very good in this fight.
He
But
did. That's the
but
thing.
it was questionable. Yeah.
The way he was fighting was like dumb though. It was like, well, this is not the fight to show that. You don't show your takedown stuff against the guy who only.
I mean, I understand that it's like cool to out-grapple the grappler, but like you're a puncher. You're an actual dude that can punch and put people out, and you went for the takedown. It was weird.
Yeah, or if you do it, you got to do it like Dustin Poirier to Diego Brandao, where you do it humiliating, where you just dump them on their ass against the fence and then just start punching them more from there. Like, and if he was in the same position too as Brandao Poirier,
Yeah.
and he just instead he dives his head in, and that's how he got caught with the guillotine. I'm like, what are you, dog? Anyways, Gabriel Fernandez defeated Carly Judice. That was better than it had any rights to be, but at the same time, I already knew Gabriel Fernandez could strike in the southpaw versus southpaw matchup. Weston Wilson defeated Jekka Saregi, who was the parlay buster. Saregi had no sample size, so we didn't know, and he got submitted. Mikezo Acosta submitted Shailan Nerdembeke. And we talked about that fight on Twitter, Fenyo. Like I like guys like that, but it's just so hard to not have that athleticism and rely on somebody out athleting themselves.
Yeah, the thing with Costa is that he has like a very old school jiu-jitsu, so he takes a long time to set up stuff from the bottom, and it cost him in the last fight against Steve Garcia. Got knocked out looking for leg locks, which funny because Nate Maness won his last fight like that, KOing a guy looking for leg locks. But yeah, I mean, was a weird fight, especially because Nerdembeke like no interest in striking in this one, and then he got tired with his own wrestling. And Melchizedek, to his credit, he made him work a lot, and it was a nice like transition to the rear naked choke when he started to get tired. But it's hard to predict how fights are going to go for him from here on. But it was a solid performance.
It was. Lastly, Knutson defeated Pilastri. I got nothing to say about that. All right, I'm gonna queue up a tweet here. But anything else to say before we go into the breakdown finally?
Now let's get right into the breakdown.
Okay. I'm gonna make this tweet and we'll do it. Saudi Arabia. Now, come say hi for my 400th show. Now that all the tangent thing's over. Sorry. 400th show. Lovely on-air stuff, guys. I know you guys love this stuff. Okay. All right. Boom. 102.45. All right, guys. UFC on ABC 6, finally. UFC Fight Night. Whittaker versus Aliskerov. UFC Saudi Arabia. UFC Saudi. Three Kings. Ooh, Three Kings. That's gonna be the movie theme. Michael Jackson, my main man. You ever see that movie, Fenyo? Three Kings, little George Clooney, Ice Cube.
No, actually, I haven't.
Michael Jackson, my main man, huh? It's such a good movie. Stop. Ooh, encore. Je gonzon, où j'en suis, à la France, nous comptons. You guys gotta watch that movie. It's great. Three Kings. All right, I'm gonna go rewatch that. That's gonna be the gift theme. We got it, baby. We have Robert Whittaker minus 154. Comeback on Ikram Aliskerov plus 120. Odds makers open it as a pick'em. Public money. Push money toward the Reaper side. Doesn't surprise me, Fenyo. I want to hear your thoughts though.
Okay, so this one is interesting. Whittaker historically very strong against wrestlers. Obviously, we have the fights against Romero. We have the fights against Brunson. But Aliskerov presents some interesting challenges for Whittaker. For once, he's a jabber. Whittaker is the more nuanced jabber, so I'm expecting to control the fight with his own jab. But the thing that Whittaker is still someone that likes to close the gap so much, and you don't need like to be a better jabber than him to hurt him. We saw that in his fight against Dricus du Plessis. So that could be interesting. And another thing, and that came to me reading the breakdown that Jack Slack made on Aliskerov is that Aliskerov likes punish the deep a lot, and Whittaker is someone that dips very, very heavy to his right side, especially with the dipping jabs, changing levels with the jab, feigning the takedowns and that kind of stuff, that which I'm not sure he is going to do here. But yeah, I mean, Aliskerov for sure has avenues, and he should be the superior grappler if he ends up top position. But I think, for me at least, I feel like discounting the du Plessis finish, that is like the first time that Whittaker actually looked like old. Like he lost a step, but then he came back looking very solid against Costa. Like he still has his game well put together, and I feel like he still can defend takedowns very well. And lastly, one last thing before my prediction is that I liked Whittaker having a bit more of a balanced stance against Costa. He's usually like insanely heavy on the front foot, a little more balanced against Costa, and that allowed him to calf kick. And calf kicks would be very useful against someone that wants to jab with him in Aliskerov. So that would be very interesting here. And also, it helps him with defending kicks, because Whittaker's stance has been historically very bad for defending kicks.
Yeah.
A lot of, like, even... what's his name? The Brazilian guy, Sapo, who...
Natal, yeah.
Who was...
Rafael Natal.
He kicked the shit out of Whittaker, and he was like not very good. So, Uriah Hall also had success kicking Whittaker, Adesanya obviously. So I feel like he's still vulnerable, and I would not be surprised to see like Aliskerov like intercepting Whittaker with the jab, or punishing his deep with a knee or a high kick. But I think the safest route here is going Whittaker by decision, to be honest.
Yeah, wow, 5 rounds. It'd be interesting. I want to see Aliskerov go 5 rounds. He's been scheduled for it before in the regionals, but he's never had to really go deep or to the distance that I saw. Correct me if I'm wrong, folks. But yeah, it's funny. I remember them talking up Phil Hawes in that fight. And not that Phil Hawes wasn't having success early before he got knocked out, which is like kind of normal for Phil Hawes.
Yeah, it does. Phil Hawes fights are Phil Hawes winning until he dies.
Yeah, but they were talking about him going to Thailand, and he was fighting more from southpaw. And the funny part was, though, is Aliskerov actually was the one that showed improved Muay Thai in that fight, in my opinion, because one of the only fights where he shows, and it shows like he's actually going to start getting better at his kicking defense, and then he kind of has some falters in the limited sample sizes after, because these are really small samples, folks. But he was actually doing a better job at reading the distance and defending the kicks and countering. But it was like classic commentary where like Rogan is like focused on the one guy, and,
yeah.
And they're just like, while the other guy's doing all the work, kind of a deal. So I thought that was funny. But that being said, I still feel like Ikram is still very kickable as well, for different reasons than what Feno said for Whittaker, which I agree. And for that reason, I actually feel like that was really good notes about Whittaker's kicking gait and the change of the stance, because he was throwing more leg kicks. And that was another thing I liked against Costa. However, I would even argue that even if Whittaker wants to go back to his more bladed stance and the more, kind of Jackson Winky side kick, oblique kick as they call it, but to those knees that he fucked up Yoel Romero with, like, I think those will actually work good too, because those are maybe a little harder to counter than traditional leg kicks as far as being worried about giving a takedown. And Whittaker's going to have the big cage again to operate on. So if he wants to be karate and blitzy and really move around and feel himself, take advantage of his superior speed, movement, conditioning, he's not having to cut weight twice and having the same travel that Ikram had to do back and forth. I think those things are really good in his favor. I think his tempo timing and tempo changes could really come to life here, because Ikram, even though he's much better than he looks, it's not that he's not smooth. It's not that he's super plotty, or that he can't change tempos himself, because once he finds his jab, he'll quickly do a 1-2 or a 3-2 and he can like kind of change speed slightly as well. But it really does seem to come at more of a set speed, more of a set approach, and he'll let go and he'll wail the flying knee against the fence when you're already hurt, like he did to Warley Alves. But really, he's not trying to strike for that long, and I feel like if he's not the one to get the jump on like changing a level on mid exchange, that you can get the jump on him. I know the lone loss is to not just Chimaev, but everybody sees as the uppercut. He actually got rocked really bad before that in that fight with Chimaev. And it's because Chimaev actually does a changeup. He jabs a couple times, as Chimaev will actually do. He's such a wild man that shoots himself in the foot. We forget that he actually has some decent straight punches from both stance.
Yep.
But Chimaev jabs him a couple times, and then he steps in on a hook, which is something Whittaker does all the time. He jabs, steps in on hooks. Time, yeah. And that really fucks him up. And even though he didn't get rocked with it in another fight, I can't remember off the top of my head, but someone catches him again with that exact thing. It's the change-ups that tend to fuck it. The uppercut was kind of just perfect, a perfect shot. I don't read too much into that, what finished him. But if you look at what's hitting him besides that, in that fight and others, win or lose, it's the change-ups. Now, I share Jack Slack's thing because I like Jack Slack and I want to support him. But two, I used one of the clips that he used to promote his article, like a GIF clips of a grappling. I used it in my article because I didn't have time to. I've got my own Whittaker footage, but you know sometimes I'll use other people's tweets, and it's their credit. They can click on it through the article and get extra views in their account and stuff. So it's like a two-way street there. And if I was gonna do that though, I felt bad without sharing the article, so I shared it, but I didn't check it out. But I like that you said that, Feno, because in my breakdown, one of my reads was that something I noticed a lot with a lot of Eastern and like Dagestani and Russian like European kickboxers, they're really good off their lead side. They got deceptively lead sides, like Rashid Magomedov to Polish guys like Jan Blachowicz, who granted I think is a left-handed Orthodox fighter. He's a weird one. But still, you see a lot of guys that are really deceptively good with their lead side. And Aliskerov, he actually has a pretty good switch kick. And I think that's going to be his best weapon for the reasons, you were citing from the Jack Slack thing, from the dipping and those change-ups. But I ultimately still picked Whittaker. Not by decision. I know I said this the last time when he fought in his last fight. I predicted a surprising knockout. And I knew that was a kind of a wild take in a way because Costa is durable. But if you look at who Whittaker's been fighting, because he hasn't finished anybody since Jacare Souza 2017, he's really not just been fighting like some of the most durable people in the division. He's been fighting like some of the most durable people like active in the sport at the time. In general, yeah.
I mean, if you go like Cannonier, Gastelum, Vettori, Costa, these are like this that are not getting finished. Like
Vittori's the Grimace. Nothing can kill the Grimace. And look what the Grimace is doing for the Mets or whatever. I don't even follow baseball, but the Grimace shows up. It's like Marvin. Nothing can kill the Grimace. And that's Marvin Vittori. You can't kill him. He's unkillable. But yeah, I think he's actually gonna break the knockout streak here. But I wouldn't be surprised by a decision either, though it's 5 rounds again, and even Ikram was like, oh, this weight cut and da-da-da-da and yada-yada. So a lot of guys having trouble with their weight cuts, it sounds like. We'll see. But yeah, I played the Reaper, minus 142 units. I still thought that was a good line, even though I missed the CLV, bro. The classic MMA gambling Twitter guys who got their chalk and they're bragging about it early with the Mad Max gif. Dun, 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 dun. Riding their motorcycles, the guy in the fighter stringed up. Look at me, that's what I got. No, I don't have any crazy price, but I am taking the dive on Whittaker at the chalk. So it seems we're we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Again, it's a different price than playing the dog, but again, this is still arguably one of those cases where there's arguable value in the favorite. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like Whittaker, anything under minus 160 is a good deal. I don't know. That's just me. Lastly, before we move on, I'll get you guys in the chat, but I just wanted to get some analysis contributions from my man Ghost Phantom. I love his takes. He says, some analysis on Rob Whittaker, because I've been animating him this week. Ghost says he gets his opponents to lean back with his jab, then builds off that reaction. He adds Whittaker also gets stung with a southpaw jab because in an open stance matchup, his lead shoulder is down and it takes him a while to reset reset after his feints with the right hand. Absolutely. And that kind of plays into that southpaw killer effect where everybody focuses on the power open side. But for the same reason Whittaker gets tagged, that Ghost pointed out, it's the same reason why a lot of southpaws get tagged. Myself included, we get real lazy with that lead, especially because we're not used to people jabbing us back in open stances. And Whittaker is one of the rare people that actually does jab in the open stance. But yeah, that doesn't mean he's impervious to that weakness that southpaws go, right? It's a two-way street, folks. It's a two-way street. That's why I hate when people say never in a volatile game like MMA full of two-way streets. Never. Sorry. The sureness on people, Feno, in this game, it just bothers the shit out of me. The sureness. My God. My God. I hope they're millionaires being so sure that they can use words always and never in fucking MMA. Because these are the people that are proven right, Feno. Of course.
It goes like that.
Always. Yep. James Kendrick said Jack Slack also said on the Patreon Khamzat could not take down Ikram. Ikram did a really good job defending the takedown before he got knocked out. Yeah, I feel like these guys are going to defend each other's shots as well, which is probably why me and Feno spent a lot of time talking about striking. Ronan Curtis, what are the chances Rob gets booped? I mean, there's always a chance. It's like he's wearing damage. I get it, because even though he's not old, he's got miles. But I don't know, man. It's like he's somewhere between like GSP, where it's troubling quietly, but he's still making it work for the most part. To like, I'm trying to think of a darker example that we maybe could start seeing, in the next couple of years, where the bottom finally drops out and it just gets ugly.
Yeah. The thing with Whittaker is that he has been surprised by, and it's like, I don't blame when people get rocked when they are surprised. Like, those are the shots that fuck you up the most.
Yeah.
And like the Costa is like, you cannot see that shit coming. And but the thing with Duplessis is that Duplessis surprised people so much because he backs up with the high guard so much that when he finally decides to counter, you have no idea what his timing is. So I feel like he just like jabbed him on the way in when Whittaker was like for sure like, oh, this guy is going to move out with the high guard and I'm going to go to the body, and Duplessis just planted his feet and boop, hit him with the jab, and that was like very surprising to him, I feel. Yeah. So I think his chin is still fine. If you see in the Costa fight, Costa is nailing him with the jab.
Yeah.
Super hard, but as long as Whittaker is seeing the shot coming, he's fine, I feel. And Aliskerov has like tricky timing and that kind of shit, but I feel like it's going to be Whittaker the one controlling the pace of the fight with his own jab, just because he's much more dynamic with his movement and his feints, I feel. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. And I will say, the jab too. That was another thing too. Seeing Costa have success with that when people want to jab back at Whittaker made me feel a little more justified for my take, both publicly and I spoke with you about it privately, Feno. That and again, it's not saying that I wasn't going to pick Whittaker here or anything like that, but I just felt like quietly it's a trickier matchup. Oh, and by the way, like we said with the Quinlan being okay with losing a decision, for what it's worth, the fighter themselves, Robert Whittaker, said it's a trickier matchup to prepare for than Khamzat and Chimaev. So, not that anybody was giving me shit for that take. I just figured more people would because everybody's so high on Khamzat. But I feel I don't know. We'll see.
Chimaev was for sure like more dangerous on round one.
Yes.
But I felt like the game plan was a lot more straightforward for Whittaker. It's like putting a lot of emphasis on takedown defense, just scoring with the jab, waiting for Chimaev to get tired because he always gets tired, and then just like control the whole fight. And you saw Usman controlling Chimaev with being very timid with the strike shots. Because Usman, for as good as a jab as he has, he doesn't have a lot of like rhythm play and subtlety to his jab. He's more of a ramming jab. And he still controlled Chimaev with that. So I felt like if Whittaker could drag the fight to the third, to the fourth round, it was for the taking very easily. Here, I think he's going to have more of a tactical battle with Ikram, and it's going to take a while to get heated, I feel.
Absolutely, yeah, I think so too. We'll see, though. We should ask that guy in the chat, Tron, who's saying that I'm coping hard for my Perez bet. We should ask him because he's using words like always and never, and he's getting upset that I'm calling him out for his bad takes. But I will thank him for the engagement because your engagement's only helping me, Tron. So I should thank you, man. You enjoy losing your Whittaker bet. Okay, all right, man. That's fine. Just keep that same energy after fight time, which I'm sure you will if you win, because that's how you people operate. Oh, gotta love MMA gambling Twitter. A bunch of pieces of shit in there. But hey, that's fine. I'm winning if you're in my chat, buddy. Fight Talk MMA. Any opinion on Ikram's stuff jab he hit Worley with? Ikram's stuff jab he hit Worley with. Does that make sense to you, Feno? Sometimes Whittaker plays a dangerous game throwing deep inside, super loopy punches, but saw that mostly against southpaws.
I feel like Whittaker in the pocket can get sketchy just because he just gets too out of position with longer combinations. His style is a lot more designed to throw like 3 punches at most. And if you see the finishing sequence, that both times, the twice that he got rocked by Adesanya, the problem with Whittaker is that he starts like dipping more and more to the right, and his feet start getting into like a messy position. And Adesanya is also a mess, but he's like more rude, so he catches him with the left hook in the first fight, and you can tell like Whittaker, his feet are so apart and he's dipping so low that he's not in position to throw good punches and also absorb good punches. So I feel like that's a good read there by Fight Talk MMA.
Yeah, shouts Fight Talk MMA. Thanks for the positive. Actually, I have something to contribute because actually you have some brain cells, it looks like, unlike other people. Alexander-Volkov plus 186. Sergey Pavlovich minus 240. I'm just going to keep talking shit at the person, Feno, and throwing little jabs because it'll keep the engagement up, and it's clearly bothering them. And you know me, I love shitting on, especially when like they come and like prove me right, like MMA gambling Twitter, like they did with Donnie Clifton. Like it's hilarious, so I'll let them fucking prove all my shit right. But this one is Pavlovich minus 245, plus 186 for Alexander Volkov. I don't know who's going to get proven right here because it's heavyweight MMA, but I'll still make a take anyways because it's my job and what I get paid to do. So my calories are being spent here, and I'm actually getting profit from it and not spreading the old haterage. But Feno, spread some of your positive energy in here while I take care of some.
So are we talking about Pavlovich versus Volkov right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so this one is interesting. I feel like two rare, like decent heavyweights. Volkov a lot more proven than Pavlovich actually, and this one could be interesting because they are training partners. I sadly don't have any like insider info. Some guys in the Russian part of MMA Twitter probably know a thing or two about this, but I feel like, and you guys know I don't bet, but I feel like Volkov is a very live underdog here. Just because Pavlovich, of course, he has a chance just because he moves forward. He has okay footwork when pushing forwards, and he has like the fast hands and put longs combination together that are going to help closing the distance against a longer dude. But I feel like he's kind of limited at very long range. We saw that in his fight against Overeem, and he hasn't fought anyone that can like complicate him from that long range. Even Aspinall has like the kicking. He's very fast, but the problem with Aspinall is that he engages from punching range. He doesn't like use like very long range tools. He kicks from punching range. He's not a guy that's trying to keep you outside because Aspinall is so confident in his ability to fuck you up from the inside. So I feel like obviously these guys know each other. So who knows if Pavlovich has like a trick or two to deal with Volkov. But I feel like especially if this goes a little bit long, Volkov can be very dangerous for him, especially with the leg kicks and front kicks change up, and he's also getting very good at countering leg kicks. Even though Tuivasa was landing good connections, Volkov was doing a very good job of just like shaking and coming back with the counter immediately. And
Yeah.
those pile up very quick at heavyweight. And I'm not sure, like, and also, Pavlovich hated the body work by Overeem. So, and Volkov is like the most consistent guy to attack the body at heavyweight right now. So yeah, I mean, Pavlovich always has a chance just because he's quick, he's a huge puncher, and he attacks in combination. All of that gives him a very good chance at winning every fight. He could perfectly win a rematch against Aspinall, even.
Sure.
But I feel like Volkov is an interesting pick, completely valid pick here.
Is that who you're picking, or do you have a pick on this one? You don't have to be hard pressed like me for the picks and stuff.
No. I'm actually picking Volkov to a second or third round TKO.
Yeah. I that's what I'm picking too, as well. Hopefully it goes over because that was my opinion here because they're two training partners, and like these guys were actively not trying to fight, and it sounds like the UFC did some bullshit where it's like this person, he said he wanted to fight you, like cops interrogating in a room, like your buddy already rolled on you. Why are you defending him? Like it sounds like they did one of those things because anytime they ask him about it, like especially Pavlovich, who's the favorite, they both have a quiet kind of Russian sense of humor about them, especially Pavlovich. But even Pavlovich was like real cold to those, and he's like no. Like, at least Volkov was joking about it. Like, he's trolling. He's like, oh, yeah, he knocked me out. I don't remember the training sessions. Whereas, like, Pavlovich doesn't want to talk about it. Like, he doesn't want to talk about how the match came. He goes, listen, they just, if the contract was signed, I guess they want to fight, so I'm going to fight. And, like, you could tell, like, they ruffled some feathers. They're friends, So, for me, that's, like, a big red flag. Friends to bad blood. We always see, like, tentative decisions, Like, those are, like, kind of the tropes.
Yeah.
So part of me wants to play that, and I did for a half unit because, again, I have to kind of put my money where my mouth is still, but I'm not going full units like I normally do. By the way, I was going to go with the over last because I lost the under Quinlan and Fugit. Sorry. That's what I had in the last card, and I hate betting unders, but my overplay, because, again, I have certain coverages in my head, I liked that better, which was Aliskerov versus Trocoli, who we'll talk about Trocoli in a second, and I was going to bet the over in that because I know it looks like a squash match. Oh, Duran's boyfriend, yada, 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 stupid match. Like, all those things are true. But the Trocoli guy is actually pretty tough, and he actively grapples. We'll talk about that coming up. But I thought he was going to be good enough to get the over, so that was my original bet, which, wouldn't have made a difference even if it would have still happened in cash last week. But point is, I'm back on the over train this week. I got the over here. That's in my co-main event write-up. However, this is where I'm silly, and I'm like, kind of worried about backing myself into a hole. Part of me wants to be, again, conservative, and maybe I'll just do like a round robin of dogs. Instead of putting a unit on this dog, a unit on that dog, and a unit on that dog, maybe I'll just do one unit and play 4 dogs in a round robin, right? And it wouldn't be for that too much profit, still pretty risky. But man, I just saw the 2-1 on Volkov, and it just, again, if you want to say he's an underdog, I'm not going to, fight too hard to say the wrong person's favored. But anything north of a 2-1 spread on a heavyweight fight, I squint no matter who that is, especially at this level. I mean, and you look at it really like outside of the comeback win against, that miraculous comeback Derek Lewis hit on him, like Volkov traditionally does really well against punchers. It's guys who can grapple. It's guys who can match who can athlete him, grapple / athlete him. Like, that's where he really has trouble. He actually does really good against punchers. Furthermore, you mentioned countering kicks, that Volkov gets better at countering kicks. Well, it's his common culprit outside of like the uppercut that Tim Johnson almost put him out with in like his first UFC fight. Every time he's been knocked out or rocked, like 9 out of 10 times, it comes off of him kicking, which makes sense. He's so tall, he's a good striker, and he comes from Kyokushin karate, sport karate, so he's got the in and out movement to accentuate his length. Like, yeah, you have to catch this guy when he's on one leg kicking to even reach him, right? Like, so it kind of makes sense that that's the common culprit. So what do? I immediately go and look, and does Pavlovich counter kicks? He doesn't. I didn't see him do it once. He will get he doesn't even check. He does the thing where he kind of gets back out of the way and he creeps in. He edges into punching range, and he waits for you to punch, not for you to kick. He waits for you to punch, and he will punch with you. And that's Volkov's there's gonna be, especially not in the small cage, in a bigger cage where Volkov can move. I think those chances are going to be few and far between.
If you see in the last few years, the only guy that could outstrike Volkov, because Aspinall just took him down, and the Blades decision is kind of controversial on rewatch. To be honest, I felt like Volkov won maybe the last 3 there on damage especially, but it was mostly Cyril Gane able to match the length with his long kicks. And that's not something that Pavlovich can do. A lot is said about Pavlovich's super long reach, longer than Volkov's, but then you have to factor in the height, and it's kind of equal. You're going to see that, especially because Pavlovich doesn't have a super active jab, that it's Volkov who is going to be longer. Don't go by the reach alone. Pavlovich for sure has a chance. Volkov is going to punch, and if Pavlovich sees an opening to close in and try to bomb on him, he's going to try to do that for sure. But I feel like Volkov is more proven, and he has fought this style of matchup. You can tell that Jair Senior is a very similar matchup to Pavlovich, and even maybe not as long. Jair Senior very stocky for the division, but he has the kicking game to kind of close the gap, and he couldn't get anything done really. Even though that you could argue that was an early stoppage, Volkov was winning every second of that fight before the stoppage. So yeah, I mean, I like Volkov. Pavlovich, as I said, always has a chance, but I like Volkov in this one.
Same here. I put 1 unit at plus 200, so if he wins, he pays off the Whittaker price tag. And if the over hits, then, we profit as far as those 2 fights go, and that's all I have really on my docket, but I have a lot that I'm ready to pull the trigger on, looking on. But yeah, I'm going to go with Volkov as well, and if I'm wrong, I'm sure I'll hear about it from MMA Gambling Twitter, Feno. So we'll see. It's heavyweight MMA, so I'm sure whoever's right will be absolute geniuses, right? That's how it goes. So, all right. Bring back PED so we can get Carwin Lesnar matchups. Yeah, I'm with you on that Fight Talk MMA. Rowan and Curtis, there are about 6 good heavyweights right now.
PED is kind of back. Did you guys see Pavlovich in this week?
Yeah, I think everybody's going crazy. I think MMA Gambling Twitter is also going crazy for that, because they're so quick to call.
Pavlovich has always been jacked. I don't know why people are so surprised. But
it's so funny. MMA Gambling Twitter is they're the first to call people cucks, but they're the most cuckiest. People oh, look at the muscles. They're also that crowd oh, but look at how long he is. How many inches? You guys listen to yourself how you're talking about these other men, for the way, which is fine with me. No judgment, by the way. But it's just it's fucking hilarious. And then I'm also seeing him described, which again I could be hard on myself, and it's easy when you have the bottom feeders creeping in, Feno, to only think of the negative. But how many times whether people whether it's you can always tell how much you're influencing with the language. You always hear people, for example, rip off Jack Slack. He says mummy guard, then everybody's saying mummy guard for the whole year. Kind of things like that. And I notice a lot of things that I say get stuck in people's language, whether it's written, post, video. And I'm man, for a guy who's wrong about a lot, I sure get referenced a lot. My analysis sure kind of ages well. And then even just silly shit, I always call Pavlovich a refrigerator with arms. Now I'm seeing people kind of jack that. So again, for as much as I suck, I guess I'm good for people to crib notes off of, Feno. So I don't know. We'll see.
It's the legacy that.
I don't know. Yeah, again, no, that's my thing though. I'm right about everything except what counts, right? Except what's on that. I'll be right about literally everything else, and then I'll be wrong on that one thing for fucking, Johnny No Dick MMA Gambling Twitter bro number 7 to come and be you got that wrong, bro. I get that right all the time, man. So that's my life, Feno. That is my life. So if you're an analyst out there, stay away from the making picks and plays if you can, if you don't need to make a living. All right, next fight, we got Daniel Rodriguez plus 194, D-Rod, which sounds like it's another name for your dick, And Kelvin Gastelum minus 245. So I got this plus 195 staring at me right in the face with Daniel Rodriguez. And I'm tempted to hit it because I wasn't able to get... I'll have the Southpaw report out by tomorrow as I planned. But I was hoping to at least get like one part out. It took me like 2.5 hours just to clip this thing because, especially with Kelvin Gastelum, he's got a decade worth of goddamn decisions against Southpaws. So I had to go through and timestamp that, all those matches, plus making the cut, plus and I still haven't even edited together. It's going to take another fucking who knows how long. And just so I can have analysis that ages right, and just so now Kelvin Gastelum can probably get another decision against a Southpaw that he didn't fucking win. And, again, Johnny No Dick can tell me how much of a dumbass I am because he was smart enough to flip a coin and get it right, I guess. I don't know. Point is, Gastelum is 3-1-1 against UFC level Southpaws. He probably should be 3-2 because the one on the far end, the no contest, is a win over old Vitor Belfort, but they took it away from Kelvin because of weed. So that doesn't really count. But that being said, like I just referenced, he probably didn't beat Chris Curtis even if the judges missed the clear clash of heads that dropped Curtis. I still think there's an argument for him winning on top of that. So that's kind of where he should be. But looking at it realistically, you can't depend on Kelvin to grapple. Obviously, clearly, that's out of it at this point. But is he going to chin bully and do his lancing 1-2s all night to death is kind of the answer. Does he knock you out or get a decision doing that, out voluming you? And he could definitely win a bullshit decision. But looking at D-Rod's circling people into the left hand, I feel like he's just going to have Kelvin following him all night. And as long as he doesn't give away too bad of optics, and as long as I don't bet D-Rod, he shouldn't lose a bullshit decision. But I'm tempted to bet him, which means we're probably going to get Kelvin by a bullshit decision. Feno, what are your thoughts?
This one is interesting because both guys are very similar. D-Rod a little bit more of a traditional southpaw, but actually more versatile in the close stance matchup. But I feel like Kelvin's 1-2 works very well in close stance as well. The problem is that he mostly has just that. And what makes this fight super weird is that it was moved to middleweight at last minute. Which, like, it's not that Gastelum is going to be bigger because D-Rod is very, very big for welterweight. He was probably going to be heavier than Gastelum, unless Gastelum is, like, actually fat for real. but I don't know, man. I feel like maybe D-Rod was already, like, halfway there on the weight cut, and Gastelum didn't even bother, and then he shows up being fresher. Who knows, man? It makes it all sketchy, to be honest. I feel like D-Rod, if we go to the matchup and we go to the tape, as you said, he has some good tools to actually like kind of outsmart Gastelum, and he also has a decent pace and all. But I felt like D-Rod, the problem with D-Rod is that he did not look great, like physically to me, against Magny and against Gary. And Gastelum kind of looked like shit against Brady, but that's more like Gastelum being inconsistent more than him looking like physically shot to me. But so it gets very weird. I understand, like watching tape, that you get that D-Rod is better, especially in the close stance matchup. But I think the circumstances make it too sketchy for me to make like a committal pick either way.
Yeah. My fluid thoughts thing, which is again aging well. I was like, I wouldn't trust any of these guys, to be honest, regardless of which side in this matchup. But especially Gastelum as the favorite, and sure enough, Gastelum, is already talking about catch weight, gonna miss weight, tough weight cut, yada yada. And he wins when he misses weight before, so we were joking like, oh, he'll probably win just because of that. Although I will say, last time he missed weight trying to make welterweight had a bad cut. That's when he got rocked the worst and arguably could have lost that split decision to Rick Story. Granted, that was freaking 10 years ago. But don't worry, that'll be a part of my Southpaw report as well, to go along with the other samples. But yeah, man, it's tough. Like I said, I'm on the fence for a reason. I'm still going to pick D-Rod. But, we'll see. I might just end up just throwing him because plus 195 is a decent number. So maybe I just throw him in the round robin. And if he hits, he hits. But again, at the same time, it's like, but what, Dan? You're more confident on fucking heavyweight MMA. That's where you lay the unit on. But again, it's new. It's context, right? The contexts are different, and heavyweight is volatile, is more volatile division. But this is just a weird matchup. So Rain Lamina, Gastelum too busy eating tacos and reviewing restaurants. Yeah, that was a bad look.
He named the shit missing weight. Come on.
I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like, that's Rowan Curtis Gastelum, another one of the brickheads Whittaker has fought. Yeah, exactly. Another unkillable dude right there. For sure. I wonder what Rodriguez by submission is. Like, what if he hurts him and then Gastelum shoots into a front choke or something stupid? Like, because that's how Gastelum loses. It's something random, like a random sub.
Yeah, that could be something for sure. Yeah.
Plus 1,800. Holy shit! Maybe I throw that in the fucking round. I throw just like a little bit of that if I get the plus 1,800 just for the shits and giggles. Because I don't even have any like.
Do you know what by submission is?
Rodriguez. It's Rodriguez by submission. Yeah, plus 1,800.
Not bad, actually.
Yeah, that's good odds. That's the odds you want to see for something like that. Yeah. All right. Next fight. Well, it's not the next fight. It's just, you know what? I'll read it out of order here because they're fuck their order. Antonio Trocoli plus 440. Shara Bullet Magomedov minus 650 or Shitmedov. Oh my god! All the same people that were just glazing over whoever the hype flavor of the week is, like Tyra last week or whoever. They're all glazing. All those same people are glazing Shara Bullet. Ooh, and they're calling him Shara Bullet specifically because he looks so evil.
They cannot say just Shara. It's gotta be Shara Bullet. Like,
dude, you can accuse me of coping however you want, and even if I were to grant you and say you are right, which you are wrong, but even if I were to grant you and say you are right, even that is only half as much cope as amount of cum you guys are fucking pouring out for anybody with the fucking beard and the ov on their last name. Holy shit, not you, Feno. Not you guys in the chat. You know what I'm talking? Like the typical casual people and the casual bettors out there that are just like, they just come themselves, And like even with because you see it like with like people like are replying to like my article on Junkie with the breakdown, and like I respect more people like saying bet the house the other way that I'm going just to fade me because I'm like I can't even argue that like be a dick about it, but I'm either way. I'm not going to disagree with you, right? In fact, I'll agree with those people more than the other people, which are not just backing Ikram, which is fine, but they're like, this is why they're backing Ikram because he was a combat sambo world champion, and you know who else was a combat sambo world champion? Khabib was, and Islam Makhachev was. They just do that blind like,
and Fyodor was.
everybody's everybody's just the same, yeah. Oh, they have the beard, they have the Sambo accolade, they must be as good as Khabib. Like, come on now. And Ikram's good. He's not like Shamil Gamzatov. He's not like Shamzatov or like these fake Russians. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not like those low-level fake guys or anything. Like, he's pretty decent, right? But, like, to be honest, I think Shara Bullet, not only is he between Shamzatov and, like, Aliskerov, he is way closer to, like, Shamzatov level than, like, mid-grade, potentially better Russian level. In my opinion, I don't know. Like I gotta look back into him more, but I just remember just a bunch of can crushing, kicking range, not a ton of boxing range, and
no, not a lot of boxing at all. I thought Bruno Silva looked like absolute shit in that fight.
Yes,
and he still gave him trouble. Like Bruno Silva is very inconsistent since getting to the UFC.
Yes,
and that was one of the worst showings by him.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he still got the takedowns. That said, I don't have much to say about this fight because I have not seen Trocoli.
So Trocoli started off as he probably just did like some amateur kickboxing stuff, but he was billed as like a wacky kickboxer guy who would shift stances, do like wild kicks and knees, and then he was just getting like and killing his body to get down to welterweight, and he was just getting fucked because of that, right? By like Jacob Volkman, who was a former UFC 155er, so that looks kind of crazy, right? Because Trocoli used to fight at light heavyweight. But if you look at that, he actually learns from his losses and like falls in love with grappling, which is really weird. You don't really see guys do that much. They, A, actually learn from their losses, and B, actually try to shore up holes. And he went and made that his A game to where not only was he surviving on the ground, but then against guys who weren't as good, he was just plying his own grappling game, taking him to task. He's got a decent, he's not like a good athlete or a crazy athlete, but he's decently athletic, and because of that, he's got a decent reactive shot in the open against the fence. So it's not like he's aggressive once it gets to the ground. Like, he actually will try to initiate positions and take initiative. And that alone, like, makes him a really live dog. I'm going to look at it closer, but I'm actually leaning toward Trocoli, man. I think there's just too much value on there, and even just picking him straight up, like putting my name on a pick next to him as an analyst, even.
How big of a favorite is Charabutin?
He's minus 650. And
minus 660. That has no value.
Yeah, he opened at minus 700 because all the damn hype.
I would say. I'm not sure because I don't remember Trocoli match.
He's technically Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Now.
Okay. I mean, Chara looked bad defending takedowns, but also he's good at stalling from bottom position. So, but yeah, I mean, that's just bad value. Like, okay, you pick him to win, and now what?
Yeah, exactly. So, even if I pick him, and even if you're the proverbial you watching this picks him, like, I don't know how you can really trust. Shout out to Brad Tashchuk. That's his nickname, Shitmedov.
If it was like I don't know, like plus 250, I would get it, but
I think Trocoli should just bring Mackenzie Dern and like kiss her between rounds and get the other guy really upset. People don't know that joke. I remember when I first heard that story, I was like, "Oh crap! Did he attacked a gay couple for showing affection?" Because I figured like that's what it was for. Not that justifies it, obviously, but I was like, but then I found, oh, it's just a regular couple. Oh, this guy just doesn't like. Oh, okay, it's a cultural thing. Like, oh, this guy's really. But then I guess like through that Reddit story,
we're saying like, oh no, you don't understand his culture. Like, what culture, man? Like,
guy just seems like an asshole. Like, yeah, but like again, back to my points about MMA gambling Twitter. It's a surprise they love the assholes, right? You know, go figure. Johnny Walker minus 108, Volkan-OOOOOOOZEDemir minus 112. I don't have a big opinion on this. Feno, you had a strong lean on this one. I'm gonna be picking OOOOOOOZEDemir most likely because I'm not a big Walker believer. But this is not a fight I want to touch with my money. Feno, what do you got?
So the thing here is that both guys inconsistent in different ways. OOOOOOOZEDemir, I feel, is like in that weird late career stage when it depends a lot on his fight camp. He's kind of getting into that Shogun territory where you don't know what you're going to get. So I feel like sometimes he shows up in shape, and then I don't mean like in physical shape, like in appearance. He always looks great. But I don't know, the confidence, I don't know if he is dealing with injuries or what. But you see like how he looked against Nikita Krylov or even winning against Paul Craig, I felt he looked pretty bad. And then in his last fight against Guskov, he looked fantastic, to be honest. I thought OOOOOOZEDemir looked great. If OOOOOOZEDemir looks anything like that, I think Johnny Walker is completely fucked, to be honest.
Hey,
like
guys,
it's just such a bad matchup because OOOOOOZEDemir can't defend kicks, for once, one of the few guys that will check a leg kick here and there, and that's been like Walker's saving grace as of late. And then he has very good counters. He has his own jab. He can put combinations together. It's everything that can go wrong for Johnny Walker, Volkan-OOOOOZEDemir can do very decently. The thing is that I'm not sure I can trust OOOOOZEDemir at this stage of his career. That being said, getting him at plus in the odds here looks good. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. If you can find him at plus money, looks like minus money for the most part. What I'm seeing, that's not bad at all. All right, next fight, Felipe Lima stepping in. I forget for who. Now it's like pretty much pick him. He was a slight underdog when he opened, but it's minus 114 Lima. Muhammad Naimov minus 106. Looks like I missed the boat. Not that there was a lot, but I like Lima here, even though it's short notice. He's just coming off of a Octagon win. He was on my fighters to look out for. That ages really well. Again, you know, I give myself shit for it's like oh, Dan, you're going into your biases. It's like what? Picking the more proven product evidence-wise and by your numbers game as far as betting and mathematics goes, picking where the value is when those both line up. Like, I don't know how much better you can do than that. Things just happen, right? And it's like, oh, well, you pick the old guys or whatever. Shout out to Pepe Silvia. I always, as we call my soggy dick special, where I play the old guy. That being said, it's like, again, it's not, you can be like, oh, well, you hate prospects or younger fighters or don't have a good radar for them. It's like, am I? Because my prospect articles, when I calculate the win percentage, the finish percentages, how these guys are doing, who's getting signed, like, these things are aging damn well. Again, God, I know the analysis actually ages fucking well for what it's worth. Like, I'm not crazy as far as that goes, at least. I don't know, other stuff maybe we'll see. But like, that's what's what's extra annoying about this is like, I can pick prospects well. You know what I'm saying, Fenyo? It's like the bets I lose. It's like Julian Marquez to Zach Reese. It's like those are the Zach Reese are the air quotes prospects I'm losing to. You know what I'm saying? And so that's kind of the annoying part. That being said, it does seem like people are keeping the same energy with the actual good prospects. But again, it's a UFC debut. It's short notice, so I don't know how bullish I would be on Felipe Lima against Naimov. But do you have an opinion on this fight, Fenyo?
I haven't seen much of Felipe Lima. I thought I watched a few fights back. Then haven't watched this week. The only thing that concerns me is that he's usually a bantamweight, and Naimov big and very physical for featherweight, so that could get interesting if it goes long, especially. Not because I don't trust Lima's cardio, but mostly because like wrestling with such a big guy can be very taxing, especially when you're taking the fight on short notice. Other than that, I don't have much to say, to be honest.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yep. That's a really good point. Yeah.
Because Naimov did not look small in his lightweight fight, for example, against Malarkey, so
there's not a lot of meat on the bone there. It's not really a fight worth touching, in my opinion. And you're essentially
the odds are too close.
Yep, you're doing. I'm a big fan of degenerate prop plays, well thought ones, anything prop plays, right? But let's be honest, you're bullshitting yourself if you think there's a real angle for fights like this. It's more you're just taking a stab at the coin flip, and so you can act like you're a genius when it cashes. And good luck to you. We got Nasrat Haqparast minus 260. Jared Gordon plus 205. Sorry, I don't know why I say him like he's the Matt Damon doll from TMA. Jared Gordon. That's how I say his name. And I don't know, man. I didn't lock my pick in, but I'm leaning toward Gordon here. I know he has trouble with athletes, but Haqparast, he was a guy I was kind of high on to come at you. Not quite Arman Sarukian, but not too far off from him when he initially came in. Where I was like, listen, guys. When he first came in his first UFC debut, I'm like, there's some potential here, but kind of like many of my fellow analysts, I'll let you speak for yourself, Fenyo. We kind of got underwhelmed, a lot of us, from Haqparast, from processes, consistencies.
This is the first time in like 5 years that we have Gastelum and Gastelum in the same card, right?
Yeah, right. There's that too, right? That's kind of crazy, but yeah, I'm not saying he definitely deserves to be favored. I'm not disagreeing with that. But
did you do Southpaw report on Gordon?
Not yet. This is on the docket. Yeah, it's not yet. That's why I haven't locked this one in yet. But like, just from a general matchup perspective, I like Gordon. Gordon hasn't faced very many southpaws. He faced what do you call and I don't know if this guy's a dedicated southpaw, but that guy Michel something. It was early in his UFC career, and he was actually he was actually a prospect. He never really panned out. But I think that's only one of two for Jared Gordon. Patty wasn't. Just like he wasn't. Danny Chavez isn't. Chris Fishgold isn't. Oliveira. Dan Moret's another southpaw. He won that by decision. A bit of a taller southpaw. More active to grapple. Dan Moret's still been...
Bobby Green, I think, was fighting southpaw at the moment during the short fight.
Sure, that makes sense. Bobby Green fights southpaw a lot, so I'll have to look at those moments too as well to see if Michel Quinones, and those are the only southpaws relevant ones on his record there. So he beat Quinones, he beat Moret, and he didn't beat Green, and that was ended with a no contest, obviously, and he actually had decent moments for whatever that's worth quietly.
Yeah, Yeah, I was as a Bobby Green fan, I was kind of nervous during that
Yeah.
fight, to be honest.
Yeah, same here. I didn't expect to be, but I was. And so yeah, I mean, seeing that over plus 2-1 on Jared Gordon is tempting. But when Jared Gordon does lose, it's usually like some freak thing. It's not just by a good fighter, but it's also like a freak thing. Like it's a behind the back police lock, like from Carlos Diego Ferreira, who is legit good, but it's also kind of like a freak position. And not saying that CDF couldn't do that and wouldn't have done that anyways. But Jared Gordon, as he does, he always has some crazy story where like he almost got his fingers bit off in a street fight before that, so that's why that hand was jacked up. Or like there's always like some crazy Jared Gordon story. Like the guy sounds like he has my luck, which makes me endear myself to these fighters. But Feno, we just talked about it, right? With the Alex Perez and all these other, I don't want to trigger anybody bringing that up. Oh no, but no, we just talked about it, right? Like it's like, dude. I'm setting myself up for heartbreak. I'm setting myself for heartbreak trying to back these guys, Even when it's just, even when it makes sense, it's almost like it's extra dangerous because the universe is going to be like, no, fuck you. Especially if I back Gordon. Point is, that he's going to lose to some freak shit, He's going to be like, oh, he's going to lose, and then it's going to come out like, oh, yeah, I got my passport stolen by some rich sheik who made me, swallow his testicle hairs, and I got sick, but that was my only way to get back home, I forget, it's going to be some crazy shit like that.
It's going to be something like that, yeah, for sure.
It's going to be something like that, oh my God. But yeah, so we'll see. If I do pick Gordon, maybe I just put him in.
We're going to see something like Haqparast like poking his eyes like 3 times.
Yes.
And then the one time that Jared Gordon does it, he gets a point taken off.
Yes. Yeah, especially if I bet him. That's exactly what's going to happen. All right. Do you have a pick for that fight or a lean?
Not really. I feel like it's super close, but Gordon kind of tempting. I'm seeing him here as plus 185, I think.
Yeah, plus 205 at some houses. FanDuel plus 205.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
I bet for decision. I goes the distance. Actually, could maybe. What are the odds for goes the distance?
Goes the distance is chalk, so they expect to go the distance, almost 2-1. So they're expecting this to go to the distance. You maybe put that in a parlay or something. You put that in a parlay piece.
Parlay that, yeah, maybe a straight pick for Gordon could be worth a while if you see something there, but I would wait for the Southpaw report first.
yeah, wait for that first. I'll be into the wee hours of the night doing that one, and that's the reason why I didn't get to my most tempting dog. The one dog that I wanted to play straight up, and I may still. He's in the leaderboard. I haven't got to the matchup, but it's not going anywhere. We still got the CLV, and that's Nicholas Dalby.
He's for sure the best underdog of the card.
Yeah, I mean, again, except he actually has more output and is more consistent than Douglas Da Silva de Andrade, but he is a dog. He is those kind of archetype dogs, though, that will fight for your money. I like to say that, a dog that will fight for your money. To where, you can have 70% of the stylistic checkbox in your favor. You can have 50, you can have 80. Whatever it is that you still find it convincing enough to take the shot, you can always take almost more comfort in the analysis take more comfort knowing you're backing a dog who will fight for your money, right? And that is Nicholas Dalby. Fates Renat, you can fuck right off. Fakhretdinov minus 350. And this guy is just like fraudulent to me, man. Again, like, I get PTSD Easy Dos Santos, man. I mean, how many so close yet so far with him inside the distance against Benoit Saint Denis, betting him by knockout / money line against Fakhretdinov, which he had that crazy round 3 and a quietly competitive round 2, I believe. But yeah, I don't know, man. Fakhretdinov seems to fade. He kind of seems like he athlete bullies and chin bullies, even though he's not the most athletic or the most durable and powerful guy. He's more powerful than normal. He's more durable than normal. He's probably more athletic than normal. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he fights like he is super stats in each of those categories, which he is not. And I think unless he shows some real craft and process, a corner turn in that regard, I feel like he gets taxed the further he moves up the division. Will that be at this point, though, as low as Dalby is? I'm not sure, But for that,
I thought Rinat looked good in the Salesio Santos fight, but then almost lost for sure at the end. And I feel like he gets very overrated for 2 fights. Unlike the Brian Battle one is like whatever.
Yeah.
Like Brian Battle is not a good wrestler. Then he knocked out Kevin Lee. Like, what does that even mean? Like,
yeah. Yeah, especially where Kevin Lee was at in his career, what he was dealing with, all the injuries.
I feel like Rinat is actually good. But he's not like the next big, like, Dagestani fighter for sure. He's not. Oh.
No, go ahead.
He would have trouble with the top end of the division. This one goes long. Dalby is going to give him hell for sure.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. And Dalby, he's also, he's been living that post USADA life before USADA went post USADA. So, there's that too.
Yeah.
He is opening his EPO airwaves, breathways, with his breathing patterns there. And yeah, I don't know. It's more just like a value shot. But whether I throw him in a round robin or I bet him straight up, don't be surprised if you see me siding with Dalby. Just because, again, maybe I'm being a little too hard on Rinat. Because I definitely think he should be favored here, just not by this much. And I don't know. I still want to see a little bit more, a little more crowd. I mean, he's a fighter, man. He knows the right idea, when to throw, how to throw. I mean, that's why he was being successful with his decision making on when to do certain things. With in fights like the Easy Dos Santos fight. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe I just got to see more for me in that regard. But I'm looking at Dalby real hard here.
To be honest, I thought Dalby, the big risk for Dalby here is really that his wrestling is kind of sketchy in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
But Rinat doesn't look like such a super dangerous submission grappler or ground and pound threat. So I think he'll probably be fine. Rinat's probably going to win the first round. What happened after that, who knows? But if he goes to the third round and Dalby starts defending takedowns, I'm pretty sure Dalby's going to take over for sure.
Yeah, I also remember Rinat being very right-hand happy orthodox fighter, whereas Dalby is I call him the southpaw fault line. Him and Alex Cowboy Oliveira, the southpaw fault line. Because they pretty much Alex Oliveira pretty much waxes everybody that's a southpaw. And Dalby, outside of a bad decision that he got against Daniel Rodriguez, has lost to literally every southpaw he's faced. He's waxed by left-sided strikes like crazy. And I remember Fakhretdinov being an orthodox right-hand heavy guy, which Dalby seems to have a good radar for.
Yep, sounds about right to me.
All right, next fight. Again, I hate this. Dude, there's I'm going to be picking half underdogs here. Now, he technically opened as a slight dog, although pick him, but Kyung-Ho-Kang, now plus 134, Muin Gafurov, minus 164. Any thoughts on this one, Feno?
I didn't like how Mr. Perfect looked in his last fight. And that makes me tentative about this one.
Yeah.
I thought Kang looked great in his fight against Dana Batgerel and against Christian Quiñones. And if he shows in that form, I think he's going to win super easy against Gafurov. But he looked kind of slow against Castañeda, kind of picky with his shots. He looked kind of old, and I didn't like that. And I'm a big Kyung-Ho-Kang fan, to be honest. So that performance was not very encouraging for me. Gafurov, to be honest, even if Kyung-Ho-Kang shows up in not great shape, Gafurov either he needs a knockout, which very hard to get against Mr. Perfect, or he wins a complete bullshit decision because he misses so fucking much, but it gives him good optics. So I feel like Gafurov probably has a path to victory like that, but I would stay away from this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm probably going to still end up picking Kyung-Ho-Kang. We'll see. I'm going to look closer at that last fight.
I hope, man, because I like him a lot more than Gafurov.
Yeah, but as far as where my money goes, this is one where I kind of want to stay away from. And there's not enough meat on the bone still, despite the dog odds inflation on Kang. I want to see how his jab's looking in that last fight and refresh myself, but I remember him not being as active with it and a lot of stuff.
I thought, and to be honest, Castañeda won mostly on optics. Like, Kyung-Ho-Kang landed the better shots on all 3 rounds, in my opinion. Castañeda had, like, better optics and more output, so it's, like, kind of subjective. But I didn't think it was, like, very dominant for Castañeda, even though Kyung-Ho-Kang looked kind of bad. So
yeah, this is, by the way... sorry, go ahead.
And one last thing is that Castañeda fought like an annoying style, while Gafurov is going to just like go out there and fight. So maybe Kyung-Ho-Kang gets to look good in here.
Yeah, and I want to say Castañeda fights a lot southpaw, even though he lists himself as a switch. And that also could have, in hindsight, messed with the jab. But that being said, that's not very much comfort because when Gafurov is listed as a southpaw, right? So this is going to be on the south. This is the 3rd fight and final fight that's going to be on the southpaw report. And Kang hasn't faced very many southpaws. He beat Teruto Ishihara and Guido Canetti, who are striking southpaws. But those quick.
By the way, if anyone hasn't seen Kyung-Ho-Kang versus... Oh, no, I wasn't thinking Ishihara. I was thinking about his fight with what's his name?
Brian Davis?
No, Michinori Tanaka. That fight
Tanaka.
Fantastic.
Okay, yeah.
That fight's great.
Yes.
I just wanted to recommend that fight for any fan.
I got to go back and watch that too because I can't remember if Tanaka or his crew says Tanaka. It's so annoying. I'm going to go back and listen to that. I can't remember if he's a southpaw or not. But
but that was mostly wrestling though.
That too, yeah. So I don't know how much. But again, I got to go back and do so. That's what...
Ishihara, he beat his ass completely. Yeah. It was fucking great.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what I was saying. He's got wins over southpaw strikers in Ishihara and Canetti, but those are quick first round submissions against lower level guys. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. and then I also got to go back all the way over a decade ago and watch his no contest split decision against Alex Caceres, who's a southpaw. So fun for a fight that I'm probably not even gonna bet, but I'll still have that southpaw report up for you, and I'll let you guys know what I find and what Kyung-Ho-Kang's jab looks like in those matchups. All right, next fight. Yeah, we're both rooting for Kang, but it's not one we feel really great on. We'll see where I end up on. Check me on Fight Day at Dan Tom MMA. Magomed Gadzhiyasulov, minus 325 versus Brenson Ribeiro, plus 250. I have no clue about this matchup. I'm not sure. I'll look into it. I'll probably barely write anything for it. It'll probably be at the very bottom of my alternative card formats tomorrow. Feno, what do you got?
No, I have no idea. I mean, Ribeiro looked like somewhat okay in his fight against Ming Yan Zhang. And I don't remember Gadzhiyasulov fight at Contender Series, so I have no idea.
Yeah, I didn't even look at my grading the winners. I apologize, folks. But you can always type in for Contender Series fighters, type in their name, grading the winners, MMA Junkie, and my article columns will come up so you can kind of see what I gave them for a letter grade with a brief summary of what I thought of their skills and projections going forward. Nothing super detailed, but it's something, right? It's good cliff notes for you guys, especially if you're already in the habit of looking at my breakdowns. All right, lastly but not leastly, another fight that'll probably be on the very bottom because I probably won't be worth looking into. We've got Lee-LONGXiao. That's what the girls used to call me in high school. Minus 114 versus Chang Ho Lee. Minus 106. You like that one, Fania. Here we go. Sorry.
This is road to UFC finals, by the way.
Okay, there we go.
So I haven't seen the semifinals, so I cannot talk about this fight, to be honest.
All right. Yeah, that's it for that. All right, let's mark it down. Yeah, I don't have anything for that fight. Yeah, good on UFC promoting when they finally do Asian things. They promote the hell out of it, huh? The only time they promote Asians is if Dan Toms is getting fucking highway robbery on. That's the only time they promote Asians, and it's the best fighter in the world who never took a scratch on them. All right, 207, long show, guys. Apologies, but worthwhile one, hopefully. It's an important one. The rest will be shorter from here on out. Going to do a quick chat cleanup. Fight Talk MMA. Appreciate your contributions today, sir. He says, shout out to Dan Moret. Used to be a cam operator and filmed a lot of his fights in Minnesota. Had a good one recently, too. Oh, shouts to you, sir. An operator of the camera arts. Much respect to that, sir. And, yeah, Dan Moret's been active on the regionals, I was saying earlier. So, he, for what that's worth. Rain Lamina, I think what I'll do is print out your picks and plays so I can root for you to win all of them while the card is on. Oh, that's all. That means a lot. And you know what? Not only is that a nice guy thing to do, but it's actually a smart thing to do because that way you're giving yourself rooting interest, but you're not dumb enough like me and the masses where you're putting money just to make yourself interested in these stupid UFC cards because that's what it's come down to. For both me to make a living, and many journalists, as we're all, watching, or we're all, a lot of us working in the gambling field or whatever. But like, and then there's also the fact of like some people will just bet fights, Feno, to be like, this is the only way I'll hear people. And I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying it's the only way to have them like interested in the level of cards the UFC is putting out. So yeah, what Rain Lamina is doing is probably smart. You don't have to bet any money, and you can root for somebody. There we go. Sure. Positive juju there. Ronan Curtis, Haqparast got tri-starred. Yeah, I don't even know where he's at. I gotta look him up. Haqparast is halal. Kevin Gastelum. Oh my god, I love me some halal. Oh, no wonder I got a soft spot for those guys, I guess. Synchro Wing, Naimov is a POS. Do you guys remember him kneeing Nathaniel Wood's groin multiple times and got away with it? I'm not anti-Muslim, but he is true. No, I don't think you're being anti-Muslim for calling out fouls, my friend. But yeah, I do remember there was a lot of fouls in that fight, right, Feno?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. Yeah. Tentative Johnny Walker versus less good Volkan-OOOOOOOZEDemir. That's a good breakdown there, Jinkarasu. Honestly, that is. Ronan Curtis, what does a modern Johnny Walker win look like nowadays if it's not something really weird? Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I can't.
It doesn't exist if it's not something very weird.
See, there's a bias you can call me out on. Maybe yourself too, Feno. Is like us analysts, we tend to like not being a guy. Nothing against Johnny Walker. It's just we have a hard time being confident in those kind of styles. You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's like even when he has tried to fight like more with a process like he did against like Thiago Santos, which didn't work at all, and against Anthony Smith, with kind of work. It's not like super high level. He's kind of better when he's doing the dumb shit. So
yeah, hey guys,
so it's kind of hard to trust him.
It is. Real quick, Feno, we got record views, over 700 views right now. But you know how many likes we have in the video? 10.
4?
Yeah,
oh,
close.
Hey,
Close.
That's good.
Fucking hell. Hit the like button, folks. Come on, there's no way. I know a lot of those are Twitter numbers, but there's no way you guys can for free come and hit the like button. So please do so. And if you're listening, post it. It really does help. Again, before we get out of here, Substack.com. Just open that. Dan Tom MMA. It's easy. Same as my YouTube channel. Same as my Twitter handle. As you see here, at Dan Tom MMA. You can find Feno at FenoXSky. But yeah, for our Substack to support us, see our post-fight shows this weekend. We'll probably be doing one live. So if you want to join in on the live shows, and that's all you care about, and add extra video content here on YouTube, hit the like button. Then feel free to become a member for just $2.99 a month. You can join the clan, baby. Join the clan. Don't clip that. Don't clip that. Join the Dan clan, baby. Join the Dan clan.
You're baiting the clip.
No, yeah. Ryan Wagner's already fucking polishing up a spot right next to the jerk off gift one that he keeps on the ready. That son of a bitch. I love you, Ryan.
That one is so good.
Yeah, that is really good. Support people like Ghost and Ryan's Substacks out there while you're at it. But yes, $2.99, and that also gets you $2.99 for the YouTube membership, Dan Clan, by the way. You can participate, earn the fun badges, all that stuff. You can be Donnie Clifton, you can be Jane Gleason, Hercliano. And you get 50% off if you got to message me though. Email me or DM me, and I'll give you the link for 50% off the Substack. So if you want to subscribe to both, do YouTube first so you can get that link first. If you already did both, don't worry. Reach out to me and I will do my best. Not that anybody's hounding me. You guys are trying to support me. You guys are trying to give me money and I'm sitting here trying to refund it to you. But for my conscience, please reach out to me if you are subscribed to both and you didn't get a discount code. Even if you don't want one, I'm going to give one to you and I'm going to make it right to you somehow. And shout out to Tony C. hitting the founders. If you're a founder, let's be honest, I'm probably going to be gifting you your subscriptions after the year is up anyways, and you will get shouts. You get to pick your own top 5 show. I did make it so you guys get discounts. If you sign up for a whole year of Substack, you essentially get 1 month off. And I made it the cheapest that you could go on Substack, which is $5 a month. So with the discount, if you do both, you still end up paying only just north of $5, $5.49 is the best I could do for that. So hopefully we can make that work for you guys. I appreciate the support. And if you can't, because times are tough, you can still subscribe to the Substack for free. There's going to be free stuff on there. And again, you can still subscribe to this channel, and you can still share my promotions, even if you can't support that way, which I totally understand. Times are tough. It's tough for me. It's tough for everybody right now, folks. I get it. I feel guilty even asking. So just remember, it is free to vote with your dollars. It is free to share and support that way. Feno, before I recap picks and plays, anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, really, make sure to all of you who joined to join us on Saturday, because we're doing the debut of the live recap show. We have a lot of fun. Hopefully the card is fun, so we are in good spirits. But even if the card sucks ass, we will be making shitty jokes in here anyway.
Yeah. Thank you for keeping my spirits up, Feno. That's part of the reason why I'm bringing you on here. Because as you can see, man, I'm taking shells from all these kids doing drive-bys on old Grandpa Dan Tom's lawn, making fun of his picks and plays here. It's
you
cool,
go
man.
Gran Torino on those fuckers.
Yeah, I don't even want to complain anymore. It's so, even though it's like I literally, I'm not like being dramatic. I literally am on a disproportionate bad luck end of bad calls, right? Like, I could literally show the work for it, but it doesn't even matter. I don't even want to like focus on that. Like, it's like, who would believe me at this point? It's so bad, right? But that being said, I believe in me, and you know what? It's gonna make for a hell of a comeback story to come back from 80 units down. People have done worse and come back from worse in the space, and although people shit on them just as hard because that's what the world loves to do, you know what? People like me see those stories, and I'm inspired by that. Even if it's something silly and stupid as gambling, something as crazy as cage fighting. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a human being like that, Feno, but I like seeing people win. I like seeing people beat the odds. I like seeing motherfuckers come back. I like seeing the good people actually get some good things in life, because that's not how life works. I get it. I'm just saying it's fucking nice to see. God forbid, right?
When it happens.
God forbid, right?
For sure.
Fucking hell. So whether it's for us or not, hopefully we can all be human beings and not haters enough to still appreciate that, regardless of how we're doing. And which is why I always wish you guys the best. I genuinely mean it, regardless of what side you're on. But here's what I'm on, if you guys want to fade. Taking Robert the Reaper Whittaker over Aliskerov. Taking Volkov over the refrigerator, Pavlovich. Taking D-Rod, Dick Talk, or whatever the nickname stands for. I'm just guessing it stands for Dick. D-Rod, right? Taking D-Rod over Gastelum.
We call him Dick Rod.
Dick Rod. There we go. Dick Rod. Taking Dick Rod. I'm actually leaning Trocoli, as crazy as that is, over Haqparast-Gordon. But either way, you should keep your money away from Shitmedov.
You need one contrarian pick to be legit in these spaces, like.
Oh, that's right. No, so I can be like genius. Like, Trocoli was always winning, though, bro. It's just I don't even know why I get it. It's fucking hilarious.
You gotta go with the absolute.
It's hilarious.
There was never a timeline in existence where Bullet was winning that fight. Okay.
Yeah, I have to like totally be Donnie Clifton mode about it. Absolutely, yeah. Taking Secret of the OOOOOOOZEDemir over Johnny Walker. Walker. Taking Felipe-Lima over Naimov, but like I'm probably gonna stay away from that fight. Leaning toward Gordon over Haqparast, but wait for the Southpaw report. Thank you for that plug, Feno. Leaning toward Dalby over Fakrdinov, but that's a willingly knowing crazy dog pick, so don't run to the bank either side with that fight in general. Hearts with Kang, we'll see where I end up. I got a Southpaw report, that bad boy, tonight. Who knows? I'll probably end up taking the favorite, Gadzhiyasulov over Ribeiro. And who knows who I'm going to pick between Chung Ho Lee and my high school namesake, Lee-LONGXiao. So we'll see. I'll probably go Lee-LONGXiao because, Yeah. I don't know, folks.
In honor of those high school days.
That's right, baby. I used to know a friend that said that. He goes, "Oh, that was my nickname in high school." And, like, he would just say that was like, it's like that's what she said. Like, it was all something funny, like, but it was all something like gross and sexual. Like, it could be taken that way. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, that was my nickname in high school. Like, Jesus Christ.
And you're also making people think about the dick of a high schooler. So
Jesus Christ, Feno, coming right out with it. Oh my goodness. All right, on that note, for plays, I got the Reaper minus 142 units. Volkov plus 200, 1 unit. Volkov Pav over 1.5 plus 120 for half a unit. I'm looking real long and hard about cursing Daniel Rodriguez. I'm looking real long and hard about cursing Jared Gordon. And I'm just looking real long and hard just to be disappointed with Nicholas Dahl, because if he loses that one, I don't think it'll be anything crazy. Although I don't know, because with my luck, man, losing is not enough. It has to be like some miraculous thing where the fighter, like before ruining my bet, goes and, like, you know, gang rapes members of my family on live air, then comes back to win the fight. Because that's all that's left at this point, man. I mean, I've lost in every possible way this year. Like, we're really down to those. That's about it. So we'll see. I'm all for the jokes. Of course you are, Ghost Phantom. You're the man. I appreciate all you guys. Hit the likes, share, support. I will be posting my picks as usual on Fight Day, the usual places at Dan Tom MMA. But again, if you want up to date throughout the week for my fluid thoughts, Southpaw report, as well as the post-fight show, sign up to the Substack, Dan Tom MMA. To join in on those recordings live, you can sign up to the YouTube memberships. Join the Dan Clan. Dan Clan before the word. Again, don't join the other clan. There'll still be MMA fans there. They're just going to be different MMA fans. Anyways, point is, you probably won't notice too much of a difference, but just join this one, okay? Just join this one, and everything will be great. Thank you guys for sitting us with the long show. Yeah, good luck on your picks and plays, and always protect your neck.
yeah.